is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to 420.
We've got to get moving. We gotta stay loose, you know? Let it cool. Let the coolness get into our vertebrae.
Forget about it.
Hey ho!
Hey, let me get this fucking thing out of there.
Forget about it.
Hey, ho, we are
Feels like I'm
live.
back finally after 3 weeks. Trying to recover.
You feel like you're back? I'm glad you feel like you're back.
It took 3 weeks to recover from 1 week of travel. No, I've been recovered. You know, just settling in, whatever.
Well, welcome back. I am with Michelle. How is everybody? I'm trying to get the correct
Hi, Michelle.
camera angle. But who do we have here tonight?
Ken F. Rodman.
We have Rotman so far. We have Rotman.
Mojo Shop.
You're faster than I.
Logan Roth. Okay.
Corey McPherson. Tom Budis. Sean Osborne. Thanks for the support, Sean.
Osborne.
Sean's been supporting us
The
all.
fisherman. He has seen mermaids with his own 2 eyes.
Yeah, Sean definitely seen mermaids. I know he did for a fact. He's just lying about it.
He knows a mermaid.
He knows something about mermaids. 3 fingers.
He personally knows them, I think. So hey, so you wrote a thing about mermaids? That's cool.
So you've been working your ass off.
That must have taken a while for you to do.
So you've been working your ass off for 3 days. That's why you haven't been here for a couple of days too, right? Because you've been working your ass off on this mermaid research.
No, I had this on file for a while.
Oh, really? So
I wrote this like back in the '60s when I was a baby boy.
So
yeah, I just wrote it.
So you've been interested in mermaids since the '60s. So what sparked your interest in mermaids?
They gave me everlasting life.
So what? No, seriously though, what first sparked your interest in mermaids? What were you so interested?
Well, I keep on seeing pictures of them and sketches of them, and then 3 Fingers inspired me to do something
Talk
on
about
it.
them.
Yes.
Well,
and so I said, "Oh, well, I don't just do a show on it."
Believe it or not, I have a mermaid story, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna tell it until the right time. We're not yet. You're not gonna get my story out of me until we get into
tell it after the
it
first.
bit.
You know what? There's a coffee break after the first section. There's a part I put for coffee break between the two parts.
And then I can have. All right, so this
that'd be perfect spot.
So basically, you gave me like a little space in between the coffee break and like your next presentation,
and then you can go wild. Yeah.
All right.
Michelle has trained me well to give you like that little extra.
Oh shit!
See what she says.
Always.
Yeah, well, she's smart. She told you where the package was.
Always.
You're gonna listen. You gotta start listening to her.
She knew where the package was the whole time. She did. Oh shit!
Mama knows.
So we got 17 wonderful people here. All right, so the most tremendous people, the most wonderful, most tremendous people in their fields. I think this just might be the calm before the storm.
Yeah, what?
Everybody sub the one you don't see. You see that channel right there? That's like that's her channel, but that's our backup channel. Like it's our super duper for when I go down. You'll still be able to find me through her somehow. What's up, Ryan? Mud Mob.
The delay sounds so funny right now.
Well, you're on a delay because you're not. You should just use this.
But it's funny.
We got to figure out a way to patch you in. We got to patch her in so that we can just patch her in. All right, so Singeman will be back in a second. All right, I guess just we'll play another song.
I didn't go anywhere. I'm just waiting.
Oh, all right. What do you want to do?
Whenever you're ready.
Go on. All right, we'll start with you want to start with your presentation now?
Sure.
Are you ready? Are you ready to go? All right.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, whatever. We can talk about it and hit pause. You're not no pressure, right?
Are you sure?
No.
It's not gonna. You're not. I'm just messing with you. I'm gonna try to share it this way. This is a different way.
Nelly says hi, Michelle.
Oh, what's up, Sue?
Jason Starr says, "Yeah, it was good. Thanks, Ryan. Ryan's here.
Let's see if it'll share it.
Ryan's not here.
If it'll share it like this, we're good.
Unindoctrinated is here.
See if it'll let us talk over it. Let's see what happens. Give it a second. It might share the whole thing. If it does, we're good. Let's
Oh,
see.
okay, yeah, we'll just talk casually and pause it if you don't
Well,
understand it,
yeah.
or
If
if
you need
I
me to
don't know
pause
what's
it,
going
if
on
you need
either.
me to pause, you can pause it. You
I
can pause
didn't
it
make
now.
the video. Yeah, I did.
I'm saying you can
Will
pause it.
called.
You have
I can pause it.
controls. Yeah,
How
do you
do I
see in the
pause it?
bottom in the left corner the pause button in the left
Oh, it's
corner? If you
very tiny. I'll
yeah.
let you handle that.
Well, all right. Let me know when you want me to pause it. There's no
Welcome.
sound,
I
so
wanted it to go ping, but that's okay. We don't do it. It's a lot
well
of work,
we
so I figured let's talk over it, right?
we half fasted it. It's working though.
Wait, hit pause and let it buffer. It seems really laggy. Is it laggy, chat? Let's just let it buffer up a little bit. Maybe rewind it again.
All right, hold on.
Because it
I can
seemed
try
like
to
it was
share.
like, tick, tick, tick,
It
although
might
it
be
might be my
It might
end
be
too.
laggy. No, it might be laggy, but I could share it a different way, and it might work better. This I thought would be better.
How was that, chat? Was it kind of laggy?
Hold on, let me see on the TV. I'm watching on the TV. Give me a sec.
Oh yeah, you can check it from really.
It's a little laggy.
It should be smooth and right there. It's kind of good. You'll be
Yeah.
able to
Well,
tell in a second
the other one, the 7-minute one is gonna run smooth. All right, let me see.
as it flies away.
All right,
You'll be able to
all
tell.
right. Let me try it the other way then.
Yeah, let it buffer up for like a couple minutes. We'll talk about
No, I got an idea.
mermaids. MK Ultra. Hey Sue.
Hey, what's up, MK? I was gonna call you yesterday. I just keep forgetting
I've been
to see
spinning some
what's up.
staff, MK.
Yeah,
Gotta,
I've been so
we
busy.
gotta hook up.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna let people on eventually.
Yeah, totally. We'll have time. This is only
Yeah,
like 20 minutes.
Yeah, this ain't gonna take up all night. No way.
Yeah, I always have a handy.
All right, this should work
Okay.
better than Sins. This will work better. I was just testing my boundaries, see what works, see
You were
what
just seeing if I
doesn't.
noticed or not. You're just testing me. I know.
All right, you ready? Doesn't need to share the audio because there is no audio. All right. Yeah, I was just testing you to see if you noticed. All right, you ready? This is the best we're gonna get it for this
Let it buffer up a second.
section. The next one's gonna play
Pause.
fine. All right,
Pause for like a minute so it can catch up.
I downloaded it though. It doesn't really need to buffer, I don't think.
What it does though, you'd be surprised. Or I don't know.
Right.
You do what you think is best then.
All right, just let it go. Let's just let it go now. All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. We're keeping them in suspense for too long.
Right. It seems to run better like that. And it's not gonna
be as perfect as the way you had it, but it's still gonna be all right.
The following
when
film
they process it.
is a Singeman production. Maybe it's on my screen too. Let me check it out. Is that laggy? No. This. Chat, tell us if it's lag. This is The Legend of Mermaids. Mermaids. So, what's the first picture you put in here, Ray? Mermaid means sea plus maiden. So when you normally hear mermaid, this is what most people see, right? What in your head? A beautiful woman with tails of a fish, which is really odd dichotomy, right? A fish, a sexy, hot babe. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so even back into ancient art.
I saw this one, and I was like, I started laughing my ass off.
Hit pause.
Hold on. All right. Hold on.
When you talk, hit pause.
Hold on.
So you see,
Looks like
that's
a
fine. Just keep going.
Dude.
Yeah, that was. Why would you laugh? That's ancient art. Why do you know? Why do you think it's funny? Tell me.
I'm immature. That's why.
Oh, fuck. I love junior high school humor. Okay. Sorry. I'm on another level sometimes. I'm retarded level. Okay. Rock and roll hit. So we often, yeah, they're always alone too, right? They're kind of
Yeah.
like lonely in the sea, like the Little Mermaid. That might be actually what you picture of the Little Mermaid, right? If you're born into this area,
Ariel. Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah.
the first thing you see. So it's a more rated G, right? Because she has the seashell coverage. And she does have a problem. She's working with this company that will go unnamed. So there's stores near us that are fully dedicated to mermaids. That also inspired me. I was like, what? I keep seeing mermaids. So I started
This
taking
is
pictures
epic.
at the store.
Yeah.
And I talked to them inside, and they totally believe in mermaids and UFOs. They're pretty cool people. They didn't want to be interviewed, though, so I was like, okay, I chilled on that. So there's lots of mermaids to view, but as you can see, every one of them is a hot babe with a fishtail.
Yeah, everyone.
Or there's the younger version, the cute, like teenager one. Like if you're a teenager, you're gonna get like a cuter one for your room, right? So let's see if I can find any information I had to tell you about that.
See if it's tell me.
These are all
Show
in the
game of
store, and they're
y'all
really
be, like,
beautiful.
all over that.
Say again, Michelle.
That is so gross.
What?
What? I'm not all over it.
No, I mean, like, I wonder if a guy really would be all over that. Like,
What?
Oh
that's
yeah,
healed?
yeah. Check it out. We'll
doesn't-
get into that.
Sorry.
We'll get into that. In
Yeah,
a
we're gonna
rated
get into
G fashion, in a rated PG fashion.
Yeah,
That's like-
Okay, so
Singerman has got this in the bag. He's got this whole presentation.
I should
okay,
put
so
it
these
down.
are nice statues that you see, and this one has. Oh, I missed a couple because we were talking. That's okay.
You want me to go back?
When you talk, Ray, can you hit pause whenever
Yeah.
you talk or anybody talking that? Because I can't.
Yeah,
Ray
you're trying to keep
can't
up.
do that. So there's the teenage one I was
I'm-
telling you about.
Okay.
I don't want
We'll
you
go
to
back a
not
little
talk.
bit. Here you go. Get your tail.
No, keep going. This is all stuff
I
in the
know.
store, except for the last one. I want to show that it's really almost life size. It's like maybe just a foot shorter than life size. It's huge and beautiful and expensive. It's like that, but it's inside. It's like 500 or 600 bucks. So, how's it going, chat? Is that okay? This is going to be epic. Yes.
Yeah, it's going
Okay,
good.
so
right
what
now.
is that?
How's the
Can't-
chat?
I can't
How's the
see- I
chat
can't
liking
see.
it?
They seem to like it. What is that going
Yeah,
on in
they
the picture?
do.
I can't see. Anyway, this is all stuff in the store. Really nice. It's none of it's cheap. It's all nice stuff. It wasn't like made in China stuff. They're into it too. You can tell people that are like they've been collecting
Yeah,
some of
they
this stuff
are.
for a while.
Yeah.
So there's the woman
Yeah,
compared to
listen,
the
what was it?
teenager.
When was the last time they seen a good mermaid presentation?
Probably on the ocean last night. There's a redhead with purple. See, that's nice.
Yeah.
Mermaid,
why they all got red hair?
mermaid at heart. Oh yeah, are you a mermaid at heart?
Those ones have red
Ray?
hair too.
Ray's a mermaid at heart. Come on.
They all got red
Paradoxine
hair.
oxide. There she is. This is almost a life size mermaid. It's like a foot shorter than life size, which maybe would life size. I don't know.
Pretty cool.
It was like
She's
it was pretty
she's
impressive.
turning green. Mermaid,
So
mermaid
people-
role play.
Yeah. So people are really into it. I mean, really into it. Now hit pause.
All right, hold on.
Oh no, you have to.
All right.
Look, it's the Phoenician Aqua Mermaid School.
Mate,
So
May 11th. Yeah.
You'll see why that's
May-
interesting later, because there's a connection with Phoenicians and mermaids, because it goes far back in
Hey,
history that we are
so the
told his
Phoenicians
story.
So the Phoenicians, real quick. I hear a lot of
In
people
his
talking about.
story, yes.
So what were the Phoenicians? What's another
We'll
word
get
for
into that.
Phoenician? All
We'll
right,
get into
all right,
that. Keep going.
all right, all right. Let's go. All
Play. So we can get the presentation done. And then we can cut people on and talk about it or whatever.
right.
So there's some role players that takes dedication, and maybe you're a bit zealot also. I wouldn't probably hang out with a mermaid role player. Did you put that picture in there, Ray? You slipped that picture in there. You little turkey, you. Oh god. Oh god. That's gross, dude. The first mermaid. Oh, okay. The first mermaid. At Target, right? So if I can find it quick enough, maybe hit pause. Hit pause.
I'll pause right there. A target. A Tagatis.
I have a lot to go through. I got lists of lists. So
Goddess of the moon with
She's
3 O's.
the goddess Artargatis. Okay. She dove into a lake to take the form of a fish. Okay. She tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
But her beauty prevented her from committing suicide, so instead she formed the tail of a fish. But actually, it was twin tail in many stories. So she couldn't die. She's just so beautiful. Okay, play.
Okay, so the first mermaid ever was the goddess Atagatis, and she was formed by trying to kill herself in the water, and she formed into a fish because she was too beautiful
Instead,
to die.
In Syria, yes, it's a Syrian.
In northern Syria.
Yeah.
And this is the first ever account of this ever happening.
No, the Syrians are connected with the Phoenicians, which are connected with Babylonian, which are connected with the Hebrews, which are connected with everybody.
Right.
You'll see.
All right, let's go.
A nice catch. She caught that. Very good. There she is in a statue form, and it's an older statue. I didn't get all the names. There was so much study. I figured we didn't need to go too deep into each picture, right? And then this is a coin from the Syrian, or I think it's a Syrian. Yeah, that's not a Phoenician one. Or it could be also Phoenician. They were so closely. They were trading amongst each other. And that's a great one right there. See the twin tails? That's a nice picture. That's a hard one to dig up. So yeah, then right, goes into the mythology, the Greek and Roman, which is connected with Mesopotamia. I didn't know that. Well, now I know that.
Yeah.
What do you know about Yemaya, the ocean mother? We have a statue of her at Myrtle Beach. Huh, isn't that interesting? That's right.
Oh, wow.
1 minute. I could walk to that in 2 or 3 minutes.
You seen it?
And that is the ocean goddess. Yep, I took that picture.
Is there a lot of mermaids down there?
That right there is the Fifi Islands. That one. That's the whole store. Yeah, there's mermaids walking around.
That would be so cool if you were like, yeah, that's Myrtle Beach. Come on down.
Dagon. Dagon. And this is the most common one you see. So I just chose that image, and then I found the ancient image of that.
That one's pretty old. Look at that.
It's very commonly seen.
4th century BC.
You can look it up, and you'll see it all throughout.
Taught mankind basic wisdom.
And it reminds me of a centaur. See how he's like that? It reminds me of a centaur a lot. I just thought of that. I was like, whoa, centaur. Or, well, talk about that in a minute. Here's Mirabilia, the enchanted
It also kind of looks like a dragon or a snake.
There's only one enchanted mermaid of Atlantis. Trident, Neptune's son. Messenger of the
Yeah.
sea. Okay, so his
Triton.
Triton sounds like. Oh, he has legs.
Like the guy, the king in the Little Mermaid. Basically, the guy version with the staff. That's him.
That's a trident,
Disney's
which
Little
sounds like his
Mermaid.
name. Triton. The trident.
Yeah. There you go.
He has legs. Even in ancient pictures, he has legs.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
weird.
pretty cool. It reminds me of a certain cartoon character.
Yeah, it is pretty
Neptune.
cool.
That's his dad, right? Commands the winds at sea. You got anything on to say? No, I don't know. It's Neptune, I just kind of connected it because they're to a merman. Because
It
where there's
could be,
mermaids,
I'm just thinking.
there's
I'm just
mermen.
thinking of two things. Like, I don't know. They, there's no proof of evolution, but this kind of is like if we came from the sea, right? They say they taught man all knowledge, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, yes.
There was one thing that said that,
The basic of
and
knowledge, yes.
yeah. I mean,
That was
who
Triton.
were these people?
Because there's mermen, right? So merfolk and mermen. How could you just have mer women? And so my studies led me down this rabbit hole. I was like, oh yeah, why would they have cities? But I guess they could just sit on the floor like a fish would sit on the floor, but it'd probably be different than they show. More like bubbles. I don't know. Anyway, the
Look at
artistic
that one.
point of view.
That one really looks like a fish, dude.
Kind of fishy to me. This pause. That looks more
it.
realistic, right? Why would it be such a beautiful woman? Wouldn't it look kind of more fishy and scary?
Yeah.
That was more realistic.
If I've ever seen that thing, I'd run.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is a more realistic one itself right here. This is really what I would picture. Something different because pressures of water and living under the water, you have to have different skin.
They're probably demons.
Hey, nice. That's where I put it. Yes, input. Give me that input. I forgot about that. Demons.
They're probably demons.
Look at the Starbucks logo. It says Dragon Stage.
Look at the
Queen
Antiquitech.
Samarius.
Look at the
Jenny.
onion domes.
What?
Aquaman.
Who's this? Aquaman. You stuck another funny picture there. How'd you do that? You just sliced my thing apart. Good job, dude. Aquaman. So he had psionics. I remember that. He could talk to fish.
So far, you're doing good on this presentation.
He could talk to the fish, and then none of them refused his words. But he was kind of lame.
Yeah, I don't.
In fact,
remember
he
him
was
too
the
much.
lamest of the Super Friends, wasn't he? That's
I
what
don't
I always
remember him
heard.
too much. Aquaman. I don't. I remember him, but I wasn't like a big fan or anything.
That's good. Nereids.
Nereid, the 50 sea nymph daughters of Nereus, old man of the sea. Yeah, so there was like different types. We'll look them up after. I'll show you what I found, but one of them was called
David
nymphs.
Jones Walker.
Oh, they're
shapeshifters.
Yes, I told you that.
Which means they have legs. In this case, they don't shape their whole. They don't shape their whole entire shape. That's a nice picture. She's using the water as clothing.
But if they're shapeshifters, they could be anything they want. They can make themselves look like a girl or like turn themselves.
I don't think they mean
else,
it
right?
when they say shapeshifter. I think they just mean they just split.
What's this one?
Legs to a tail. That is a
What's this
sea cow. A sea cow. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, that looked interesting. What? It's
a
animal.
It's a myriad
Genetic
on a
geoengineering,
sea cow,
genetic gene splicing. Oh yeah,
which looks like a
looks like gene
dragon.
splicing.
She looks like she's riding a dragon, a sea dragon, maybe. Jason Starr was Aquaman. I just like to make fun of Aquaman. No. So there's some more pictures. Cool. I was like looking up wood engravings and stuff to get past.
You found a lot.
New stuff. I was trying to look up old stuff. Yeah. This is actually a mermaid made for the story, The Little Mermaid. Before the cartoon, there's actually a book written about it. And this is in the harbor where he lived nearby. What's that? Oh, they're calling you, Ray. Come to us. Come to us. And then you're like, well, now what? Look at his face. Now, what? This is an odd sort of love. He's like,
yeah.
What do I do now? I got me a mermaid. Now what?
Look at this one.
Well, maybe that's just a girl swimming. Nothing to see here. Wait.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. This is Antargathus again, but it looks like a giant. See how that town? How small it is?
It's a long ass fucking tail.
Then there's a Splash, the movie, modern day Hannah. And Ray censored me on this one.
yeah.
Is that close enough, YouTube? Can I get away with that, YouTube? Come on. And there she is.
Oh,
a mermaid. Watch out. You never know. Next time you see a beautiful woman, it could be a mermaid. At this time, dear viewer, we'll enter into darker waters. Please. Brace yourself.
Here we go. Something's about to go down. yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, I heard it. Oh, I didn't have the volume on for this because I didn't think there was any volume. It's all right. I'll play it again after in a minute.
No. Go back.
There's nothing I can do. I have to stop. All right. All right. I'll do it. You want me?
You do the whole thing again.
No, just let this thing finish, and I'll play it right as soon as it's done with this.
Never mind.
I know, it sucks, but I didn't. I that was if I put the volume on, you would have been echoing the whole time. Maybe not, but it's all right. We're getting there because I have it. I have it loaded.
I need to go back a little bit. I missed it.
All right, I'll go back. Where you want me to go?
Oh, Jesus.
Right after.
Right here.
Okay, so there's a
right here.
Syrian part. What's it say there at the top? Read that, please.
Siren in Sumerian ceramic. Siren in Sumerian ceramic.
Oh, that is a tongue twister. Sorry. Siren in Sumerian ceramic. Say that 10 times fast.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that.
See the twin tail? And then, did she really know what she's doing? Or is she cursed to do that? Does she like to do that? They wreck ships. This is what the siren does. Let me explain the siren. They call to the sailors, and the irresistible call song. And in the movie Sinbad, he had his sailors tie him to the mast so that he could hear them, while they put wax in their ears and kept the ship from hitting the rocks. What? Ray, you keep on sticking these funny pictures in here. Why'd you put Sinbad in there for?
I know.
Oh,
What the fuck is he
I
doing
see.
involved in
Your
this?
connection with Sinbad. I see what you're doing. Seriously? This is how I smile? That's funny. So look, is she saving him or is she pulling him down?
There you go.
Wow. She looks like she's pretty wicked. But she might be cursed to
Yeah.
do that, you know? They might not have a
If I
choice.
see if I seen something like that in the water, I don't know.
Coffee break.
Yep. So you all right? So you want to take a break? A
You
song?
get it?
Oh,
Do you get the joke?
oh.
That's Starbucks symbol. The Starbucks
Yeah.
uses the siren symbol.
Yeah.
In fact, they use our Targatis, the very first, which now appears our
So
Targatis is a siren.
you want me to play
Do
Do you want me to play the next one? The next. Go right into it. Just keep going.
No, now you can tell you about your story because it's coffee break time.
Okay.
Where's my coffee?
So
I'll be right back.
yeah. So I have a story. All right. In order to bring, I have to bring mine up. I'll have to bring this up on the screen. Hold on. So, give me a second. So when I was younger, I was taking some hallucinogens, and I was hanging out with my friends, and we had like this basement, right, that we all hung out in, and it was like wood paneling, like all the walls were like wood paneling, like that old like 1970s like wood grain paneling. It was like a 70s basement that never really got touched, that just was still like good in the 90s, that like we all just hung out in 2000s around that time. So I seen one time, I was listening to my music, I was smoking, I was bugging out, and hold on. So, and I was, normally like you see faces in the wood, like you see like the grain. Sometimes you see faces in the wood when you're tripping, and I saw like a woman's face. She was beautiful. It was like the only beautiful face that I've ever seen in the wood. Usually they're all demonic and weird looking. Well, yeah, is this it? This one that I saw was like, she looked normal. She was singing the words. Her lips were moving. And then when she turned her head, half of her face was like a fucking squid. Half of her face was like barnacles and like a squid. Like she was like a half human, half monster looking thing. But I could tell it was from the water. And I don't know. I never knew what it was my entire life. But the fucked up thing is like her lips were moving with the song. Like the song that was on, she was singing. Her lips were going exactly with the song. So now I found out that there's like these sirens.
And they sing to you, yeah. Just like that.
Yeah, hold on. We'll play it.
Maybe you were a sailor in a past life. Maybe that was a Okay, I'm happy now. I mean, I'm always happy. I just get frustrated. Yes! That was scary. Do it again. That's raised now. I gave it to him.
So, and then it said that some of them are spiritual.
That's some scary shit. Can I hear it again?
Hold on one second. I'm just seeing if I can find anything that looks like what I saw.
Whatever you want. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a pretty interesting rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
But so yeah, centaurs. What? All this stuff got me thinking now. All the cross creatures, right?
Yeah.
And you know, people are inventive, but it seems like throughout different cultures, they have the same sightings and stuff. Far separated in time and place. Although in Mesopotamia area, over the period of
siren.
Many
in
years.
Greek mythology, a creature half bird and half woman who lured sailors to destruction by the sweetness of her song. According to Homer. Yeah. Isn't that weird? A lot of them are saying half bird.
That's a
There were two sirens on an island in Western Sea between Aea and the rocks of Scylla. Later, the number was usually increased to 3, and they were located on the west coast of Italy near Naples. They were variously said to be the daughters of the sea god Phorcys or the river god Achilles by one of the muses. Lekaitos with a representation of a siren. Siren, miniature terracotta Lekaitos oil flask, attributed to the Sirenesque painter mid 5th century BCE in the Metropolitan Art, New York. Look at this one. Oh, I can zoom in on them. All right, let's see what this is. Morning siren, limestone statue with red pigment. Let's see. Oh, cool. Here we go. Here we go, yo. Here we go. Here we go, yo. Too bad my computer's so slow, though, huh? Let me get that. Taking forever. Taking forever to bring up a picture. Just to bring up a picture. Just to show a picture. All right. Well,
I am smiling.
There it is.
Jenny. Hi. Hi. Jenny needs a smile.
So some of them had wings too.
That's a harpy. Or I mean, that reminds me of a harpy. What do the legs look like? It's a harpy.
Computer's being so glitchy. Computer is being too glitchy right now.
So the harpy's cross creature, centaur, mermaid.
Why is
the guy who plays Pan? Part goat. Part
fan. All right, let's try this again. Start over.
What's chat doing?
All right. I'm gonna play a song, I think, for a second. We'll come back.
Yeah, before we start, back up. Yeah. Good call.
Oh yeah, you got the other. You got 7 more minutes on your other one. All right, what do we got?
No, you got 7 more minutes on that. That was synchronicity. The words in that song with the words in chat.
I got some. There's probably some pictures.
Oh, by the way, I'm highly impressed. You found something on mermaids that I did not. What? A bird? Never
Oh,
heard
so
about
look,
it.
here they go. So this is what would happen. The sirens would be over here, sitting over here on the right, calling the ship over, like singing their song, playing the harp. And then when the sailors would get over there, and they would drown them to death.
They would
It was a
crash the
trap.
ship on the rock.
They were demonic. Let's see what else we got here. Anything else?
And also,
You
even
can
if
see-
you weren't, I was thinking about if you weren't entranced by it, you'd still be curious and go look at them. Maybe not pay attention to where
this.
you're going, right? And
That
then blame
one.
the fish. But really, you should have just been
There
paying
you-
attention. Maybe it's
there
not
you
as
go, yeah.
drastic as they say.
Well,
Maybe it's worse.
I mean, if
than
you
they
think
say.
about if they're fish
Ooh,
and they're not even,
that's
they're
scary. That
definitely
picture.
yeah. If they're fish, they're definitely not human. Even if they're birds, right? They're definitely not human.
Wow. So maybe they are shapeshifters that far.
I'm just
Nah,
looking to see what
that's
we
pretty
got
deep.
here.
Nah. 'Cause I think that would be a different species of Nephilim.
The swam before the ships and sang lovely songs. So, yeah. All right. Look at this. Mermaid knowledge. Anatomy of a mermaid. Let's check this out. Anatomy of a mermaid.
Yeah,
We're
we're crazy.
Look, there you go. You were right. The earliest mermaid legends go back to Syria. 1000 BC. Artagatus from Syria is the original mermaid. Legend has that she dove into the lake to become a fish, but only her bottom half was transformed. Sea cows and manatees were often mistaken for mermaids. There are four.
That's interesting. How could you mistake a sea cow for a mermaid? That do nothing alike.
Unless it was a big fat mermaid. You might think it's a sea cow.
Just say, here's the reasoning. They were tired and hungry and not in their right minds or sick.
There are four main types.
There
are four main types of mermaids. Traditional mermaids, sea-dwelling only mermaids, iris shedding mermaids can shed their tail or walk on land. Shapeshifters can change
the manatee thing. Okay, the manatees are like seeing a UFO and you're saying, oh, that's just Chinese floating lanterns. Basically, it's the same thing. No, I saw a UFO. No, you saw a Chinese floating lantern. I saw a mermaid. No, you saw a seal. Like, no, dude. I know the difference between a seal and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like, no, you didn't see that.
A mermaid. Look, aquamarine is the mermaid tears. The word mermaid means woman of the sea. A mermaid kiss gives you gills. According to the ancient folklore, a kiss from a mermaid gives you ability to breathe underwater.
Welcome.
The merman came first. The mermen, Babylonian, and God and the artifacts. Something about God there. Hold on. Mermaids don't have great singing voice.
Do they eat caviar?
Look at this. The color of the mermaid's tail depicts her mood.
Wow, you did some different rabbit holes. See, this is the universal intelligence leading you down a different path while we're studying the exact
Difference
same thing.
Between a mermaid and a siren. Oh, mermaids, normal teeth. Tail, non-predatory water creature, friendly, naive, colorful, non allowed to talk to sirens. Any kind of
Congratulations, Main Bear.
shop. Look,
A
sirens are
failure
shop.
is a huge success, especially
Yeah,
for a
tall
guy who stands up.
predatory creature.
Dude, you're badass. Stand up.
Dangerous, insidious, usually green colored, not allowed to leave the deep parts of the sea. Dark magic, shop girls, flirty. So the sirens are
Sorry,
rare.
I had to congratulate.
No,
Main
this
Bear.
is important. The sirens are rare. That's what I seen was a siren. I didn't see no mermaid. I wasn't in the water, but that was definitely what I saw. That shit was fucked up, and it was singing to me.
Wow, sounds like it really impacted you.
Yeah, it did. I never knew what the fuck it was until we started looking at this shit. I mean, if you see something in the wall talking to you, moving its lips, and then you realize it's singing the song that's on, it kind of trips you out, right? Look at this. Whoa. A Japanese mermaid.
Are you playing my film?
Yeah, your 7-minute one. Let me go
That
down the
one's in
slide.
it. I thought you were playing it. Okay, sorry.
All right.
I chose that one just because
what about this
yeah, I
one?
looked at this. Yeah, you should look at my film.
You
The
already
rest.
seen
Just
it?
finish the
All
film.
right, we'll play your film. All right, we'll do your film first. All right, here it comes. Ready? All right, you're gonna have to maybe. I don't know if it's gonna mute
because
your
we'll run
mic.
across
I
the
set it
pictures.
up different.
Most of the pictures are
Yeah.
not on there, but I had to
All right,
choose
you
a
ready?
couple that
Before
were
I forget,
common to show that.
it's just gonna play.
Wait, dude, we'll just talk over it and show our faces. What are you doing? Okay, just like the last part, do the same thing and hit pause. So there is the one you just showed, and now hit pause, please. You hit pause. So this is
On this one, I can't hit pause because the way I set it up, Singe.
okay. Okay, so I'll say this is a thing in a mall, and it's a mermaid. More real. Can you go back? I don't know.
I can start the whole thing over. You ready?
Oh, okay. No, that's okay.
I'll start it over.
She was in. Wow. Okay.
Singe, you're muted. All right, we're gonna do it one more time. You ready?
Did you mute me the whole time?
No. All right, let me explain
Okay.
it to you. Let me explain to you what's going on. Because I loaded this one up as a clip because it was only 7 minutes long, the thing automatically mutes your mic like a piece of shit. So what you need
The
to
whole
do,
thing is one movie, not
you need
two
to
pieces.
once I press play, you need to unmute
So,
your mic and start talking. You ready?
yeah. Hi, Ceiling Fan Man.
Unmute your mic and start talking.
I'm
You
Machine
ready?
Head 69.
Unmute your mic and start talking. Ready? Go.
Okay, so our mermaid's real, and then that's pretty ugly. I don't know if it's a hoax. I can't tell because I can't touch it. Whatever, right? So there's a lot of stuff out there like that. So I just picked out the basic supposed real sightings, right? And they're nothing like a beautiful mermaid that we've been picturing in our heads. And this one's in a mall. One might think it's just weird art. And you know she has light bulbs coming out of her head, by the way. And she has a bloated stomach, which makes sense if you live in the water. Shapeshifter, because she has legs. So it's like you don't know it's a mermaid unless you know about mermaids. Look behind her. Looks like underwater. So someone knows something. Dugongs and manatees are often said. He's like, oh no, it wasn't a mermaid you saw. It was a manatee. Oh, really? Dude, I think I could tell the difference. Yeah? Well, you were just tired. Oh, that's what you're gonna say about anything I say. That's like, okay, that's a beautiful mermaid. Yeah, I'm really tired and hungry. It smiled at me. Now, these are the dugongs. They're interesting. I hadn't seen them. Look how they eat. It's really interesting. That's a beautiful mermaid. Look at that. They dig their nose down like one of those moles or something. Pretty interesting. I didn't know about these. So the Phoenicians, right next to Sumerians, they all live at one time or another. All these cultures blended, and they all have allusions to mermaids or sea creatures. And they were all a lot of seafaring folk on the Mediterranean. What is it? Mesopotamian. I don't know if it's the Mediterranean. The Mesopotamian area, ancient. This is the Phoenicians, seafaring folk, traders. This is an Oriental picture because of the Oriental heritage. And I have to look at the map. I don't know it that well. Can't say that. I really know that part. And this is the Hebrews upper. Oh, I have it written down. So the Hebrews, I can't just go too fast. Mermaids and sirens, the aquatic hybrid. Yeah, it's going too fast. I missed the whole thing there. I don't know what I said. Right, yeah. They mentioned Nephilim in Genesis and Numbers. And the Hebrew word is related to the word to fall. So there we get the fallen, the Nephilim, which are the crossbreeding. Now we come into like centaurs, harpies, mermaids, Pan, the goat, anything else you can think of. I see you here, man. Hey, yes, you're welcome. And so this is man and making love. And this one's a beast. I found a beast with the Oriental one. That hat, the Phoenician hat. And I wanted this to go, Anunnaki, but we didn't get to that far. So, Anunnaki. Hey, 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 hey. We're a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. And another one which I'd never heard of. Some statues found, and I saw how they arranged it. Like someone else went down this rabbit hole. They know they were giants. And this is me, my guess. Are they like what I call the unaging royals? Queen, etc., etc. People in power. This is also from my head. Just ideas from looking at this. They people the sea with mermaids. the rivers and fountains with nymphs. Maybe they're not all bad, huh? This looks Tartarian. It's a wall mount, a drain, which is actually grotesque. The forlorn sea maiden. Cursed? Maybe. She's like, become a mermaid with me. And the end. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't get to finish. Sorry for the abrupt ending. We're supposed to smoothly go. We're supposed to have like, go well. We'll do that later. Hey, how was that? That's scary, dude. Whoa. You could scare some kids with that stuff. Dragon Sage, thank you. Sean Osborne. So, hey, what else? Do I have people come on now? Or do you want to just not have people come on? I don't know. That's your shit. Sean Good. How do you say his name? Good. Can't see your name. I'm sorry. I'm retarded. Sean Goodrew. That is the scariest stinger.
So look at this one. This one has legs and a tail. When thinking about the ocean, sailing in history, superstition, and folklore abound. Not unlike many other groups of people, sailors had their lore to aid in comprehending why inexplicable events happen. Why would ships regularly crash in an area? Why do ships leave port and never return? Sea monsters, mysterious triangles, and legends helped rationalize unknown rocks and reefs and weather events like hurricanes and currents. Hybrid, human-like creatures such as sirens and mermaids have pervaded maritime folklore throughout history. A fish-cloaked man called an Apkallu, frequently depicted as an advisor to the god Ea in ancient Mesopotamia, is not considered a true merman. However, in Babylonian texts, the Kalulu appears as a creature more similar to the modern merfolk interpretation, described as having a human upper body with the lower body of a carp. Ancient Greece gave us the famous pair of sirens that attempted to ensnare Odysseus and his crew when sailing from Aea toward the lair of Scylla. These sirens were depicted as half bird and half woman, who would entice passing sailors with their song. They are said to have driven men crazy, and it would be certain death for anyone on a vessel passing too closely. Odysseus circumvented by this by placing wax in his men's ears and tying himself to the mast of the ship so that he could listen but not change the course of the ancient ship. Ancient Greece also depicted Triton, a demigod and son of Poseidon, as a merman who resided in a palace under the sea. Later, the terms for sirens and mermaids became more interchangeable, and the modern depiction of a mermaid emerged. On January 9th, 1493, Christopher Columbus reported that he had seen 3 mermaids the previous day when sailing to the island of Hispaniola. That's Dominican Republic, right? Hispaniola? That used to be Dominican Republic. Modern day Hispaniola. Columbus wrote these mermaids rose well out of the sea, but they were not so beautiful as they were painted. He claimed
Was
to
Columbus
have.
a Mason? Yes.
Yep. He might not even have been real. He claimed to also have seen mermaids off the coast of Maniqueta or modern day Guinea. What Columbus actually saw in the Caribbean, and off the coast of Africa were manatees or sea cows of the marine mammals designed under the Sirenia order and found in many different tropical locations globally. In Northern Europe, the legends of mermaids and sirens are also very much alive. The Rhine River is a major shipping route for all Europe and has a treacherous bend known as. All right, what do we got? The most notable northern, The Little Mermaid, Hans Christian Andersen, written in 1837, is probably one of the best known and most influential depictions of mermaids in the modern era. The original story is much darker than the film. So the original story of The Little Mermaid, scarier and relatively short, but we don't give away spoilers. Disney animated the story in 1989. Oh, so they ain't going to tell us the original story?
Yes, it was a book. There's a statue in the harbor. But I didn't look up the original story.
This romanticized the tale of a mermaid in love is probably one of the more significant pieces of mer culture for modern society, but is very different from its vast history. No longer are mermaids viewed as demigods or creatures who lure sailors to their demise. With a modern interpretation, merfolk are less malicious and far more whimsical. So basically, Disney took this demonic fucking creature that lures fucking men into their death and drowns them to death, right? Into this little mermaid that like sings and everybody loves her, and you know, she's great. She's
nice.
Great.
Opposites are common among
that's
what
Disney
right?
did.
They like to do opposites of things, right?
Yeah, that's what Disney did. So thank you, Disney. Thank you, Disney. The Kraken, mermaids, and sirens. You ever heard of the? Don't release the Kraken. I'm about to release the fucking Kraken.
Okay, there's a lot of jokes. That opens a lot of jokes. So we'll just say junior high school jokes. There you go.
It's no secret. We love all things ocean and sea legends. Just come with the rounding up a few of our favorites with Kraken, sirens, and mermaids. You may have heard of some of these legendary creatures thanks to Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. If you have kids, so Disney's the one that's bringing these things up, huh? And they're all demonic. The Kraken is inconsistently the largest sea monster in the world. They like know the right size. Sirens in Greek mythology, sea nymphs who lived on an island called Serenium Scopuli. But there are different locations depending on the tradition in which the tale is told. These beautiful naiads would enchant the sailors and travelers with their siren song and cause them to sail their ships into cliffs and drown.
So
There
it's
were
all
some
throughout
causes of
mythology in every aspect.
yeah.
Just
There were some
every
cases of men thwarting their
thing.
siren song.
Crazy.
The first were the Argonauts, who had Orpheus play a tune louder than the sirens. So one of them outsmarted the sirens by playing music louder than them. It's like having it's like having a fight with your sister when you're like playing your music too loud and she's playing something else, and then she puts the volume up louder, and then you put the volume up louder, and then she puts like the next room over. You ever had that happen, Cinch?
Yeah, I remember that. When my sister got, dude, when she got an 8-track player, I
I
was
don't have a
jealous.
sister. I don't have.
When she got her 8-track player, I was so jealous, dude. 8-track, do you know what an 8-track player is? No. When she got it, I wanted an 8-track player so bad. Never got one. I was jealous.
Yeah, so the first were the Argonauts, the second was Odysseus, men who plugged their ears with beeswax. So the second they plugged their ears with beeswax. The second escape caused the sirens to kill themselves out of shame. It was then said that the sirens were destined to die should someone hear their song and escape unscathed. So if you can get away from them without getting killed, they die. If you can outsmart them. So it's just like, the men tricking the women and the women trying to trick the men. Who's the smartest? Mermaids, on the other hand, came from Mer, which means the sea of the maiden, which is legendary creature, human with a torso up, fish leg down. The earliest mermaid stories comes from Assyria. Yeah, so we've already been over this. The earliest wash away their shame and unwanted pregnancy is and emerges a fish-tailed goddess. She wanted to wash her shame of an unwanted pregnancy. Did you think of that? Did you see that, Singeman? Seamen often spotted mermaids during the Middle Ages.
No.
Christopher Columbus, among them, saw 3 mermaids on his first voyage to Americas in 1493. So this goes back to Columbus, dude, which I don't believe in Columbus, but yeah, so.
There was somebody, maybe it was name
Yeah.
Columbus.
Yeah.
But people other than him are the same side. So maybe just like today's presidents, puppets, figureheads. Maybe there was a guy, but that wasn't his name when he went home to his wife.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday, January 9th. Yo, so I don't know. What else we got tonight? Want to take a break? I need a drink. I need a recharge. I need to figure some stuff out. You want to play a few more songs?
I know, it's so stressful.
I can find more stuff about it.
That's what I was waiting for. What? You gonna make a haunted house with that? That's crazy. Good R.
Oh shit.
So yeah, thanks, Flat Earth Farms. That's just what we needed.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, man.
That's right. I could play that thing now.
I don't even know what to do now.
Here, I'll do it.
All right. I got it.
Remember.
What were you gonna? You gonna play a song? You gonna play a
No,
song?
I was gonna.
All right. How about
Take good symmetry and road to circles. No rehearsal. I'll be the first to mention every second of the day.
best? Hold on. We'll give it a second to catch up. Best pieces of evidence for the existence of mermaid and mermaid sightings. This article is more than 5 years old and was last updated June 2019. So this is an old article. Video unavailable. Well, that's good. If you want to find out if mermaids are real, you are looking for proof, you've come to the right place. There have been reports of mermaids for centuries. The tales are rooted in folklore. In many cultures worldwide, mermaids are said to live beneath the ocean and are half human, but with the tail of a fish. Even to this day, people claim they have seen merfolk, especially in Israel and Zimbabwe. Oh. What's this? Let's check this out. Yeah, right. That's crazy looking. Look at this. Yeah, okay, that's fake. Definitely fake. What else they got? Look at this one. Oh. Photos in 2016, photos in the UK were posted of a gruesome looking mermaid. Marine Biology Institute. Taken the University of Marine Biology. No fish. The body of a mermaid was discovered in 2014 and taken to the University of Hawaii's Kinoe Marine Biology. There has been no official statement of the body from Hawaiian authorities, despite the fact that they were quick to rush to the scene. So the men in black grabbed it. 2009, real mermaid sighting in Israel. CNN reported. Let's see what this one says. And we know that's real because it's from CNN. So you know that's going to be legit.
Beneath the waves of the Mediterranean Sea is a world teeming with life. What you may not have realized is among that life lives a mermaid. That's according to some residents of the Israeli seaside town of Kiryat Yam near Haifa, who claim they've seen it.
They told us that they've seen some figure of a girl with the tail of a fish, and she was smiling at them and then jumped and disappeared after a few seconds. But they were very sure, and those are very reasonable people.
Sounds like a fishy tale to me, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. This local tells me the only thing in this part of the sea is rubbish from the steady stream of ships sailing to the nearby port of Haifa. This man printed a pretty grotesque version of what he thinks the mermaid looks like and says he knows it's out there. But it took a 15-year-old to keep my cynicism in check.
2,000 years ago, nobody believed that the earth is like circle. Today, everybody knows that. Maybe it will be the next thing. I don't know.
According to eyewitness accounts, the mermaid only comes out at sunset. And she's apparently a little camera shy as well, as no one has photographic evidence. But if you do, then there is a $1 million reward in it for you. Those who claim to have seen her are also a little camera shy. We didn't find a single eyewitness. But the mayor of Kiryat Yam assures me it's not a tourist ploy, although tourism is being boosted. The local children all ask him if the mermaid's real, and so do I. Do you believe there's a mermaid out there?
My wife asked me the same thing. I told her she is the last mermaid I have seen.
Not to miss out on an opportunity, the municipality started an outdoor cinema for the local children. Playing now. What else? The Little Mermaid.
Okay. Lean, whatever. That's what I would say there. Whatever. That's what I would say there. I think we've covered everything. Or we could go on and on, you know. You're muted.
Do you want to end the show? I mean, we can go on all night about mermaids. We've only been going for an hour and 37 seconds, but it's getting late. What do you want to do?
Nothing in particular, but I just thought we were covered everything.
You want to? Yeah, no, we did. So you want to end it, or do you want to let people on, or what do you? How do you want to? What do you want to? What's your next move? Take a break.
I didn't. I thought that was up to you if you wanted. If you let people on, I didn't want to.
I don't.
Whatever you.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit either way. I'm saying, are you tired? Do you feel like hosting people tonight, or do you feel like just ending the show? And
Yeah, let's have people on. No, I don't. I'm not tired yet.
All right, let's have people on. Okay.
Oh, that's what you're saying? Nah. I mean, yeah, just. I'll hang out for another hour or so.
I put the link out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, we're not gonna end yet. I'll hang out. So
we only got
what
5
else
people.
you guys doing?
It says we only got 5 people here anyway. I mean, we don't. There's not a whole bunch of.
How many people did we have earlier?
We had like 20. We had like 20. I don't know what happened. I think it's just getting late and people are going to bed.
I think we're covered it all. And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, I get it." You know, people stream up too. You go from one stream to the next. See,
yeah. I don't know if there's any other streams.
I stream up. I will go to like 10 streams.
Real quick,
in
while I'm at it, I want to get
2 hours. I'll just hop through.
So
hey, everybody!
All right.
Come on! You want to talk?
So if you want to support us,
meeting?
if you know, there's been a lot of people that have been wanting to support us lately. Thank you for all your support. This is all my links right here. You go to the About Me section on my channels. The PayPal link. I got PayPal. I got Cash App, Venmo. Any way you want to donate, right? Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Buy Me a Coffee is a monthly thing where you could set up like a monthly where you could, like a few bucks a month. But then I also have Boston Ray merchandise, which is what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show this because not a lot of people know that we have Boston Ray merchandise. I don't show it every episode, and there's nothing else to show. So I might as well get it in here real quick. Give it a second. I know we started early though. We started at 9:30, so hopefully I can end a little earlier tonight. Go to bed. Friggin' exhausted. Oh, all right. Well, people have been ordering this stuff. People have been getting this stuff. It actually shows up. It shows up in like a week or two. It's in like a week or two. It's all different colors. We got the original Boston Ray Mudfoot design. We got the retro Ray design. We got the retro glasses, all different colors. You know what I'm saying? Zip up hoodies, women's tees, women's retro-fitted. A lot of women's retro. This is what we call the retro sun design. But we also got a bunch of different. We got Fauci. Dr. Fauci is COVID commander. Dr. Fauci is COVID commander. See what I'm saying?
Hey, how would I add that?
These have been selling like these ones have been selling like
to thank people that How would
These
I
ones
add
have been
that?
selling. I have it. It's on the it's in the other section, but the thing is it's incomplete. It doesn't have everybody's name that we it only has like 3 people's names. We got to finish it so it has everybody's
Oh,
name.
okay. Yeah, I didn't. I was messing around.
We'll have to fix it.
I didn't
Well,
know.
don't
I
worry.
didn't know which
It's
one.
almost it's halfway done.
No,
It's
but
halfway done.
that's a pretty cool shirt. Wow, that's the best one.
Yeah. It's nice.
Or the white. I mean, the white with the blue and
the
the red
white.
offset.
You can get
Looks
any
great.
color you want. Yeah.
Plus, when the sun hits you, you want white. You don't want to wear black in the
Any
sun.
color you want. But that's not all we got. We got the the flat earth fucky ducky ones. We got the flat earth fucky ducky t-shirts.
I have another
Flat
one
Earth
that's making to
Late
make
Night
it look like
Live.
you were in college, called FU
Yeah.
Duck. Graduate of FU Duck.
Look, flat
I
earth
was trying
fucky
to make
ducky
it like
hoodie.
a college symbol. Do you think that's a good, funny chat? Like a
Zip
college
up.
university or a graduate of the FU University?
So
I thought it'd be funny.
yeah, so basically stop by the store and grab some merchandise and support this channel. Give us some
I've
donations.
got a couple
Get a
more
band
coming.
practice. Get a band practice. This is the all new band practice t-shirts that we're working on. We're working on a few more other ideas for designs, but we got some band practice t-shirts already. You can get them in any color you want. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on the late night. They're pretty nice. We got a bunch of stuff coming out. We're working on it. Keep your eye out. All right. Someone else popped in. Who is it? It's Sean. Let's let Sean in. All right.
Hello.
Got
Hi.
it. How you doing, Sean?
It's daylight. It's daylight still here. I thought I'd take the opportunity to
Don't
show
even
you.
tell me. Don't even tell me it's daylight. Don't even tell me it's
Sean,
daylight. Where are you?
Hey.
I'm in Salem, Oregon. It's the light is out. I'm able to go. Usually I water my corn and it's late at night, but it doesn't seem that late. Here's the corn I've planted.
You're in another
It's kinda
world,
wild.
Sean.
Corn and potatoes. It's the corn I got off of the lady threw a 5-gallon bucket of kernels on the dock for the geese, and they were just bloated with, they couldn't eat anymore. And it was kind of messy, and so I scooped it up, and I got probably about a gallon of just seed. And then this is just a piece of them. I don't know. I never grew corn. My grandma and grandparents, I knew they put fish heads. They put the seeds in fish heads. When I was young, they grafted an apple tree that had 4 different apples on it. I thought that was impressive. I mean, I might be able to go down there. It's still on 44th Avenue. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not still there.
Yeah.
Have you ever grown potatoes? You know how they raise up?
I tried to grow potatoes once. Yeah.
I forget to bury them.
I have tried to grow them, but they
grow great.
They attract beetles. They have like these beetles that they
in your area.
Did you ever see that? So. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, it just made me remember there was slugs all over the ground, but they don't touch the corn. Like, there's nothing wrong with this corn. Like, when do they attack? What does attack corn? And you said the potatoes did have, where would they go? Because I planted them right next to the corn. I shouldn't have done that. So you got to put a pile of dirt next to the corn. Where'd they go? Okay, there's something. I guess they call it tubers. Tuber. Weird. Yeah, see, there's leaves on there. That's why I can't find it.
All right. Thank you, Two Fingers.
It's just a stick. Oh, no, it's just a stick. What were you saying about beetles?
No, I don't know.
Because I just covered this up just yesterday, and there was leaves on it. Now it's just a stick. And I don't know. I never planted potatoes I planted them in other places, like by the river and stuff. I never really kept up on it. You have to put a lot of dirt on it. Watch out for things. But
blackjack in his hand. Yeah, oh no. Why do we see the Tin Man with a pipe wrench in his hand? Yeah, oh no. What are you doing to say you're wrong? That your mind is gone. What do you think when you change your song? Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Recollections not in line, things are changing overnight. Yeah, oh no, no, no. Why did the braces fade away, but the memory remains? Yeah, oh no. What are you doing to say you're wrong when the proof is gone? What do you think when they change this song? Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Trust yourself.
Yeah, Dread. Sean, I can't believe it's daytime where you are. Smurfer Girl. Slackers. I haven't done it in like a month.
Are you ready for something in your? Are you ready for something
Yeah, I'm ready
in
to
your life
slack.
to never do the same again? You ready? Check this
What?
out.
Yeah, slack. I'm ready
Prince
to see it. Been
Mandela
3 weeks.
effect. My name changed.
Slacker.
You see it yet?
Prince.
Here it is.
That's one groovy cat.
I just recently heard about that.
Hold on. Let me play it. Don't just play it. Don't say it.
Okay, so check this out. Here is a new one that I came across the other day while watching a skit that dealt with Prince and Charlie Murphy. Dave Chappelle played Prince in the skit. The name of the skit is called Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories, Prince, Uncensored. This had me laughing out loud so much. Anyway, I started looking up Prince and I noticed that his name had changed. I sent Rena a message about the name change with Prince, and she saw his name change before her eyes. While she looked them up, she saw Prince Roger Nilsson change to Prince Rogers Nilsson. So now there is an S at the end of Roger. This is very creepy. Thank you, Rena, for sharing what you remember and for what you saw change before your eyes. So for me, His real name was Roger Nilsson, and his stage name was Prince. Well, the Mandela effect with his name is now his stage name is his real name. So like I said, I remember Roger Nilsson.
That's like Madonna. Madonna's stage name is her real name now.
But now his name is Prince Rogers Nilsson. I found some proof on a radio show that shares my memory on his name as Roger Nilsson, and his stage name was Prince. Casey Kasem was a U.S. radio personality who counted down the pop music hits on his popular weekly radio show, American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. I remember back in the 80s on the weekends, I would listen to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 on the radio, and he would introduce the new artists that would make his Top 40 list. I also remember him talking about Prince, and I will include this on my video. So take a look and let me know what you remember.
Hello again, and welcome to American Top 40. My name's Casey Kasem, and this is the program that counts down the biggest hits in the USA every week. And our countdown of the biggest hits in America begins. 60 new songs entered the survey this week, and this is one of them. It happens to be the #1 song on the Soul Chart. It's by a man from Minneapolis named Roger Nelson, who goes by the stage name Prince. His song is I Wanna Be Your Lover. At number 40, here's Prince.
So did you hear that? The dude said he goes by the stage name Prince, and his name is Roger Nelson. But now his name is Prince Rogers Nelson. It's not a stage name anymore. It's his real name. And Roger is his middle name, but it's Rogers with an S.
Debuting at number 40, Prince with I Wanna Be Your Lover.
Here we go. Here's a biblical one.
How does a good-hearted person who only means well become so prideful and pig-headed?
We are all weak, but what is important is that you're acknowledging your mistakes and are willing to repent.
I'm not talking about me. It's my ungrateful son. I sacrificed everything for that boy. And how does he pay me back? By saying I'm toxic and horrible to be around. Can you believe that?
That he would say it, or? I'm not quite sure what you're confessing.
I guess the sin of thinking my only child might appreciate all that I've done for him.
That's not a sin. That just sounds like being needy.
Hey, I came here for your absolution, not your opinion.
Yes, but I can't absolve you of anything if nothing's your fault.
I'd like to talk to your supervisor. Is a Monsignor around?
He's on a retreat, Peggy. It's just me.
Well, then maybe you need to look at yourself. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Matthew 7:1.
First, take the log out of your own eye.
It never said that. It never said that.
And then you will see clearly. Matthew 7:5.
Thou shalt not covet thy parish's choir director. Book of Peggy, chapter 1, verse 1, phone call to the archdiocese.
We're done here.
All right. I see what they're saying.
Anything new here today? Anything new? Hitler with 1 T or Hitler with 2 T's? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I have a current memory of
Hey, Jen.
Adolf Hitler, ADOLF HITLER. But I found a ton of residue of Hitler spelled with 2 T's and Adolf spelled PH instead of F. Residual evidence exists, and it's real as fuck. What do you remember?
You'll rise to greater heights than that, my boy. One day when you're older, you'll understand. That's it, John. Practice makes perfect. Now remember what I told you. Never talk to strangers. You're probably wondering why.
Let me see.
No Mandela effect here. Just showing it's operational at the moment. Who knows if it's going to be working in a few days. But I dropped that phone in the fucking toilet. And it was a crazy fluke, really, because it was attached to my headphones. Then I'm doing a couple things at the same time. And I dropped the phone. And where it was going to fall was going to be okay. But it was attached to my headphones. And the thing ends up swinging up in the air and looped straight into the toilet. And then, of course, the headphones disconnected. So I'm going to tell you what I did to save my iPhone. I grabbed it fast, and first thing I did was power it off. Of course, I dried it off fast and pulled out the SIM card. And then I grabbed my vacuum cleaner, and I held the end of the hose up against the openings of the iPhone and along the perimeter for about 10 minutes, just trying to suck all that toilet water out of there. And then I got some air. Now, my girlfriend's blow dryer has a cold air setting. You have to use cold air. You can fuck up your iPhone if you blast it with that hot air. But this has cold air. So I select cold air and I grab a sock. I put the phone in the sock and I duct tape the sock to the end of the blow dryer. And I ran it for about 3 hours. And then, of course, my girlfriend comes home. She's more concerned about the blow dryer than my phone. And she's like, how long you been running this? I go, I've been running this about 3 hours. And so, of course, she gets a little upset with me for running the blow dryer for 3 hours. And I'm like, well, what if one of your friends at the salon needed to borrow your blow dryer? Those guys are running those blow dryers 10 hours straight, every day, nonstop. Don't worry about running this blow dryer on cold air for 3 hours. And then I put it down and just left it alone. And the next day I hooked it up again and I ran that blow dryer for another couple hours. And then I was just patient. I didn't turn it on for 10 days. Not sure what would have happened had I turned it on sooner, but it's working now. Everywhere you look, even when you call repair stores, they tell you to stick the thing in rice. I'll stick to using a vacuum and sucking all the water out and then blowing it with cold air.
You can also put your cell phone in the oven for a few minutes, and that works. Did anyone ever tell you that? Maybe not. What do you think, Singe? What's Sean doing? Where are you, Sean?
I'm at Wallace Marine Park.
Where's that?
Where's Wallace? It's in West Salem. Above, Robert S. Wallace, 1849, 1891. Left, the Wallace farmhouse built in 1889. And Wallace Road, Wallace Marine Park, which is what we're in, and the historic Wallace farmhouse are all in West Salem. But who was Wallace? In 1885, when Salem was growing from a territorial town to a bustling center of commerce and governance, Robert S. Wallace arrived here from Chicago with his wife and young children. Already a successful businessman, R.S. quickly got involved in his new hometown. He ran the Salem Water Company. How convenient. Founded a local bank, Capital National Bank, and built Salem's first cannery along the mill race that is now part of Willamette University. That's what that canal is. That's what that mill. See, they call it different things. They've called it a slough. They called it. I look at it as a concrete.
No, we need.
Way to canal. It's a way to ship stuff.
I think Sean gets a boots on the ground
Certificate.
This is just on the way to work. This is just on the way to work. My brakes went out, so I had to kind of not die. Oh, fire truck. It's all right. Hopefully everybody's all right. The baseball field behind me. Baseball field. Sorry. Anyway, that's what those things are. I'll show you later. He was instrumental in getting the first bridge across. I didn't know that. In 1890, ran for Polk County State Representative, of course. In addition to his comfortable home on Mansion Row, across from the Capitol on 4th Street, I know where that's at. He bought a large farm on west side of the Willamette River along a dirt path that went north. Along a dirt path, get that's where it's like, there's no star forts here. No star forts here. It's all just dirt. That went northwest from the ferry across towards the river port community of Lincoln. Soon the Wallace farm was like a small community itself, consisting of a summer house, various barns, a large fruit packing and storage facility, a few residential homes for farm workers, and a huge orchard that was one of the largest in the Willamette Valley. It wasn't long before the Wallace. Yeah. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm kidding.
Good job. All right. Love you too, Melanie. All right, so check this out. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit.
Somebody just gave me a popsicle.
All right,
cool. I've done that. I'm
gonna take you off full screen. All right, you ready, Sean? I'm gonna play a movie.
Okay.
We'll get into this. All right, we'll see if we'll see how this works tonight. Let me stop my camera so this will work better. Let's see if this will work. How this will share tonight. Give it a second to catch up. Hopefully it'll play. There's going to be some parts that are going to be glitchy, and there's going to be some parts that are going to be better than others, but I think we can get through this. I think we can get through this together. I think as a team, we will get through this.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it. or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. When you go to church. When you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. You take the blue pill, the story ends. Red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Hold on. Jesus. Gotta add.
Hey, I'm not muted. Hey, I'm not muted.
It'll come back in a second. It's that ad. That ad screwed us over.
The truth, nothing more.
The one thing they fear is 300 million people coming together on one topic and saying, this makes no sense. We need answers. Why is the flat earth so important? This shows the deception. There are enough reasonable questions to create reasonable suspicion that we've been lied to. They can't afford to keep being asked. If, God forbid, everybody came and started demanding answers, and once they can't provide those answers, people realize they are busted. It can't be a mistake. It can't be anything but the deception and control mechanism it is. That is why they fear the flat earth. Flat earth is not a psyop. Flat earth destroys the psyop. Every psyop that's been used to control us for as long as they've known about it. So this system has been in power and control for hundreds of years, ever since they convinced the rest of the world that they didn't know where they lived. And created this fantastical scenario to make people feel insignificant and to follow those that appear to know better. They're just better liars, deceivers, that have no conscience, and will do everything and anything to everybody and anybody they can to keep that power. Because people are waking up. And no matter how much they try to suppress this flat earth movement, oh, it's going to keep moving one way or another. You can see it. People are waking up.
Their earth is indisputably not round.
Is it possible that these guys are using stage magic, tricks? Look over here, look over here. And is it possible that the world that we're living in has been misdescribed? I definitely know that the world that we're living in has been misdescribed to us and oversimplified, including the solar system model. It's been vastly oversimplified. It doesn't actually accord itself to the very accurate readings we can get today with our technology, right? Like they never predicted that it was going to come to this.
If you can't figure out what difference it makes that the people running your world have fucking lied to you over and over your whole life, if you can't figure out what difference
Time for a reset, huh? Time for a reset.
Everybody would just come together and demand answers. They wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't.
This part.
It's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
And you can see the real location of the camera and the very bright and near Earth out the window.
10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is plasma.
The Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Oh, well, that will never happen, never happen, never happen.
Sometimes it's got something called a lunar wave. There are many videos showing the moon with a lunar wave. We don't know what that is. It's all a mystery. Do you believe it could possibly land on it? Absolutely not. You know, you've got a P900 camera now you can buy, and you can zoom in to the moon. That's supposed to be, by the way, 238,000 miles away in deep dark space. It's sometimes translucent. You can see through it.
Whether you believe we went to the moon or not, everybody believes that there's a debate about it, right? Now, if you really have an open mind and you want to get to the bottom of it, let's have an open mind. Let's get to the bottom of it, and let's take it to trial. First thing we got to do is examine the evidence. And the defendant, the government, says we destroyed all the evidence.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
You destroyed the evidence? Why would you destroy all that precious evidence of the greatest achievement of mankind? These guys are fucked. They destroyed the evidence? Okay, it's on now. Yeah. It would be an open and shut case.
It's a painful process to build it back again.
I remember watching that. I remember, like, I don't know, a long time ago, years. They put it into words. Oh, it's the end. The end of the live stream? No, you're still going. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah. They gave that guy a little bit too much dosage when they put him on the moon. Come back.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
When you look up at the sun and moon, you see two equally sized, equidistant circles tracing similar paths at similar speeds around a flat, stationary Earth.
Rise up, look at that red cosmic light and think about it. That gets up in the eastern horizon every morning and moves across the sky with a kind of symphony of motion and paints its technicolor across the blue, a light that man could never make. They become so involved in thinking about man's progress, they forget to think about the need for God's power.
The experts at NASA, however, claim your common sense, everyday experience is false on all counts. To begin with, they say the Earth is not flat, but a big ball. Not stationary, but spinning around 19 miles per second. They say the sun does not revolve around the Earth as it appears, but Earth revolves around the sun. And the sun is actually 400 times larger than the moon and 400 times farther away. That's right, You can clearly see they're the same size and distance. You can see the Earth is flat. You can feel the Earth is stationary. But according to the gospel of modern astronomy, the Earth spins 1,038 miles per hour under your feet and revolves 67,108 miles per hour around the Sun. Copernicus calculated the Sun's distance from Earth to be 3,391,200 miles. The next century, Johannes Kepler decided it was actually 12,376,800 miles away. Isaac Newton once said, "It matters not whether we reckon it 28 or 54 million miles distant, for either would do just as well." How scientific.
Science!
Benjamin Martin calculated between 81 and 82 million miles. The moon is actually a semi-transparent luminary and not the solid spherical desert planet that NASA would have us believe.
The phone plans the internet is obsessing over.
Sorry about the ads. There's a lot of ads in this one, huh?
In fact, it is likely that both the Sun and Moon are not densely physical at all, and are simply luminous flat disks able to pass by or through one another during eclipses. The Sun and Moon luminaries revolve around the Earth once every 24 hours for the Sun and approximately 25 hours for the Moon, illuminating like spotlights the areas over which they pass. The Sun's annual journey from tropic to tropic, solstice to solstice, is what determines the length and character of days, nights, and seasons. What can be more common than the observation that, standing at one end of a long row of lampposts, those nearest to us seem to be the highest, and those farthest away the lowest. As we move along towards the opposite end of the series, those which we approach seem to get higher, and those we are leaving behind appear to gradually become lower. It is an ordinary effect of perspective for an object to appear lower and lower as the observer goes farther and farther away from it. Let anyone try the experiment. The apparently uprising surface of the Earth upon or over which it stands will converge to the angle which constitutes the vanishing point or the horizon, beyond which it will be invisible. Heliocentrists would have you believe the very opposite of what every human who has ever walked the Earth has seen with their own eyes. It is obvious to any child and sovereign-minded adult that the sun, moon, stars, and planets, every light in the sky above, revolves around the motionless Earth beneath our feet. It is also plain to see that the sun and moon are both approximately the same size and situated relatively close to Earth, not 400 times divergent and millions upon millions of miles away. To abandon your senses and everyday experience in favor of such unfounded science fiction fantasies is a fallacy of appeal to authority so extreme that it leaves the brainwashed believer impotent to trust his own natural instincts and forever thereafter chained to the fantastical explanations of astronomical charlatans.
To moon! Yeah? ever wonder what those sparkly dots are up there?
Oh, I don't wonder. I know.
Oh, what are they?
They're fireflies. Fireflies that got stuck up in that big bluish black thing.
Oh, gee. I always thought they were balls of gas burning billions of miles away.
It's maybe the night the machines might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer. It's maybe the night the machines might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer.
To stay fixed in their constellation patterns, night after night, year after year, century after century, never changing their relative positions. If Earth was truly a tilting, wobbling, spinning space ball, as NASA and modern astronomy proclaim, the star patterns would never look the same 2 nights in a row, let alone be fixed in exactly the same constellations for thousands upon thousands of
It's
years.
maybe the night the machines might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer. It's maybe the night the machines might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer.
I want to talk about flat Earth. And I notice things like when you search it in a search engine, all you get is misinformation. You don't even get real critical thought on it. Well, I saw the blanket censorship, which tells me there's truth to it. Tells me that they're panicking. They're in panic mode, and they don't want us to have real, tangible information. More importantly, they don't want you to think critically about it. See, we're in the information age, and this is what the tactic is. This is why Logan Paul just did a video on flat Earth. It's why Shane Dawson just did a series of videos. It's to discredit the real truth. True. It tells me that there's something here that they don't want you to know. It tells me that mainstream science, NASA, and more importantly, our government powers are panicking. So they're hiring through the same companies that they own, because there's only 6 companies, by the way. If it's a wild conspiracy theory, why do they need to discredit it? If it's a wild conspiracy theory and it isn't the truth, and no one's going to believe it because they're smart enough to think on their own, why do they need to discredit it? Why do they need, and these same people, keep in mind, Logan Paul, Disney is the parent company. I'm pretty sure he gets a check from Walt Disney. Why would they then put out these misinformation campaigns? I mean, ask yourself these logical questions. I think we know the answer, and I think we know the reason. Is it possible that we're living in that Truman Show today? We're living on the flat Earth with the dome, the firmament. As we start to look around us, we start to wake up, our eyes open, maybe that third eye opens, we start to understand, wow, this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe instead of being a worthless blob of goo that came from nothing and then developing into apes that were oohing and ahhing and then eating bananas like a bunch of idiots, maybe instead of that, we actually are the center of the universe. Maybe we are special. In fact, maybe there is unbelievable evidence of creation, but the government has decided to hide that from you. Why? Why is there so much misinformation? Why is there a giant disinformation campaign going on right now when it comes to things like flat Earth? Are my eyes lying to me? Or can I trust what I'm actually seeing? But Christopher, the Earth is a globe. I was told that when I was 1 year old. They said, look, this is a globe. Isn't it interesting? It's one of the first things that you're actually taught. The Earth isn't flat, it's a globe. Even though for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years, they thought that the Earth was flat. Oh, but Christopher, we have all these images of outer space that show that the Earth is a sphere. Really? Where do the images come from? NASA. Oh, you mean the same NASA that is our government, our secretive breakaway government that hasn't been back to the moon since the 1960s. That NASA? Have you ever seen it with your own eyes? How come none of the electronics account for curvature of the Earth when you're flying a plane? None of the engineering of bridges and train tracks, buildings, all kinds of infrastructure that goes for miles and hundreds and maybe thousands of miles, none of it accounts for, in its actual engineering blueprints, for the curvature of the Earth. I mean, if I was building a giant bridge of hundreds of miles, wouldn't I have to account for the curve? Or is it possible there's not a curve and that we've been lied to for a reason?
Everybody in this room was taught the story of how Columbus went before Queen Isabella of Spain, and he was going to prove to her that the world was the globe. So this world is round story is 100% bullshit. It's total fiction. Yet how did our grandparents learn this? We learned this. Our grandchildren are probably going to learn this. How come? Because history is pop culture.
And the dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, what's his name? Felix Baumgartner, edge of space jump. But the honesty of it would greatly diminish what I think people thought he was actually doing. And not only that, they made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. You see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space, look at that. No, he's not.
It's almost overwhelming. When you're standing there in a pressure suit, the only thing that you hear is yourself breathing. You can see the curvature of the Earth. You can see the sky is totally black.
At that height, you don't see the curvature of the Earth. It is, you just don't. That stuff is flat.
You can see the curvature of the Earth.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth.
You can see the curvature of the Earth.
You just don't. That stuff is flat. Flat.
With a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. With a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. With a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines.
scientists vote that the Earth is flat.
So trust your eyes and trust your experience. Trust your feeling, trust your intuition. Look out, see the horizon flat. Feel for yourself. You're not moving. Just sit still. Just sit still for a second. You're not moving. You're not spinning around an axis at 1,000 miles per hour, rotating around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, spiraling around the galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, and shooting off from a big bang at 67 million miles per hour. You're not. You're motionless. You're just sitting there. Just sit still. What does that even mean, sit still? You think you could sit still with all those motions? Just feel like you're moving. Feel that? Same thing you've always felt? Nothing. Ever. Nobody's ever felt movement. Nobody's ever seen the earth move. Nobody's ever seen the earth curve. Maybe you just got fooled by some masons. Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. That's why it's so hard to convince you you've been fooled.
Boom, baby.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change.
That's pretty cool. That was Habella. Give me a second. So I guess this is going to turn into Flat Earth movie night. It went from mermaids and magicians to Flat Earth movie night in point 2. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. It's weird, yeah.
I've heard somebody else tell a story about it.
I got the chorus down. It's the Mandela effect. We're shifting again. It's the Mandela effect. Everything's different again. You know? So, yeah, ready? I started looking at the Mandela effect. It blew my mind. The shit wasn't correct. Trying to figure out just how it connects and what the fuck I was gonna do next. It's the Mandela effect. We're shifting again. The Monopoly man. Monocle is missing again. I think they even got to the Michelin Man in the Statue of Liberty. It keeps switching the hand.
Did you know your reality is being put to the test? The Panama Canal no longer runs east to west. Things you are sure happened never did in this reality. The crunchy cereal with the captain now has the apostrophe. I started noticing changes in like 2014. It was JFK, the six-seater that seemed so obscene. Many people will try and call me a loon, but hold up, wait, they even changed the spelling of Looney Tunes.
Okay. I used to eat a Chick-fil-A every day before they added the K.
So what's causing this? Many want to know. Well, I don't think it's CERN. It's just a magic show. Satanists doing rituals while scamming mad dough. Sounds familiar, like liars that always show us the globe. NASA, NIST, CERN, and more. We really need to show these corrupt agencies the door. I don't think this phenomenon is caused by man. I think it's a great awakening, and maybe God trying to contact us the best way he can. For me, Flat Earth, Mandela, and our dreams are all connected. Looking to pull some people in that I can intersect with.
The bridge! Yeah, there it is. Alright, cool. So I didn't screw you over. Alright, cool. Alright, here we go. Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Alright. Earth is flat. What you gonna do about it? The earth is flat. Now what you gonna do about it? The earth is flat. Now what you gonna do about it? The earth is flat. Now tell me what you think you're gonna do about it. Tell me what you think you're gonna do about it. Tell me what you think you're gonna do about it. Tell me what you think you're gonna do about it. The earth is flat. What you gonna do about it? I thought you knew about it. Would you rather do without it? We're the center. The sun and moon moves around it like a clock. Can you hit a moving target with the rocket? I'm not hard to get along with. Just take a bong hit. Do you serve up any content? The stars are constant. You want a conversation for it? It makes me vomit. We never do get hit by comments. You want it. Leave another useless comment in the morning. The earth is flat. Tell me what you gonna do about it. What you gonna do about it? We know it's flat, and there is a bunch of us. Them globies munching on a bunch of snuffleupagus. You think it's cute? Then why not cuddle up with us? We know it's flat. Why you making such a fuss? My supper was the fucking best. That's just because the earth is flat. It hit me like an uppercut to the nuts. The earth is flat, and there's nothing you can do. The earth is flat, and there's nothing you can do. With a Russian with the crew, don't forget to brush after your food. They got asteroids, and asteroids too. The earth is flat, and there's nothing you can do. The earth is flat. What you gonna do about it? The earth is flat. There's nothing you can do about it. The earth is flat. There's nothing you can do about it. The earth is flat. It's fucking flat. The earth is fucking flat. The earth is fucking flat. The earth is fucking flat. How did the voice
Very good, bravo.
Did it line up with the beat? You know, and then I got this. I got Late Night Live. I don't know why. It's weird, yeah.
I've heard somebody else tell a story about it.
$19 people. You're making me nervous, man. Joe making me nervous. Jenny. Juno, Jellyhead, Juno. You're making me nervous. You're making me nervous, Morgan. You're making me nervous. Sue, you're making me nervous. Enough of that. All right. Oh, hold on. I gotta cut my screen. I'm still here. I'm watching this with you guys. I just gotta so it'll share properly. Hopefully this will share. If not, it's bye-bye till tomorrow. All right, let's hope it shares. All right, I got it.
We built this film on a foundation of love. Its purpose? To shatter the mental barriers constructed from a lifetime of indoctrination. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind. We are participants in a prison system we are unable to see. Once the veil is lifted, there is no turning back. Many of us rarely realize we are the victims of indoctrination. We follow the pre-planned layout of life, living in a state of confusion, controlled by a small group of individuals who possess great wealth, estate, and control. They monetarily benefit by keeping us blind to the true nature of the shape of the earth. Most are too busy to question what they are told or investigate the scientific theory about the physical world and its shape, wrongly taught in schools as fact. Inquiries made on a controlled platform such as YouTube or Facebook are quickly rerouted to videos and content that hold no merit. Misconceptions occur either intentionally or due to lack of research by mixing heliocentric and geocentric cosmology together, causing incoherence that pushes the viewer away from learning. Why would a lie like this exist? What purpose does this level of deception seek to gain? The hard, solid truth is that all the known space agencies and related industries have made untold amounts of money for many, many years, providing nothing but CGI, fisheye lens curvature, and Hollywood-style productions as proof. The following evidence should speak for itself through the testimonies of these professionals, pilots, and witnesses. To find yourself, think for yourself. The most courageous act is to think for yourself. Our greatest wish is for minds opened, questions answered, and the reign of freedom through truth revealed.
Good afternoon.
Hey John, how are you?
Pretty good, sir. How's everything there?
Everything's good, can't complain. It's kind of windy out. Looks like it's gonna rain. But anyhow, I've been hitting these questions regarding the flat Earth. Trying to get information out of me, and I'm not too familiar with the subject. Help me out.
Yes, sir. Copy that. I'll give you a couple of relatively quick examples that you can also research and elaborate as well. Number one, I'm a pilot, and when I used to fly out of Long Island towards Nantucket, bottom line here is they're going to give you some type of formula for every 100 miles. They're going to give you some type of XYZ per kilometer squared. Keep it very, very simple. Every 100 miles will be approximately 1 mile. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. The actual number.
I had an idea. Bet you if I put myself like sorry for the interruption.
Is 6666, which is of Luciferian origin, which really reveals who's behind all the conspiracy and cover-ups, for everything. But the bottom line here is a very simple formula is for every 100 miles, you have 5,280 feet, which is 1 mile of curvature. So 100 miles equals 1 mile of curvature. Now, if I'm going, let's say, hypothetically, from Long Island to Nantucket, that's about a buck and a half. It's about 150 miles. So it should be a mile and a half. So let's just take a mile. So with aviation, you fly at certain altitudes, whether you're flying in a easterly, a northeasterly, to a southwesterly direction. So hypothetically, I'm flying easterly at hypothetically about 4,000 feet, which is an even number. If you add 5,000 feet of curvature, that would be around 9,480 feet, which does not exist. So the bottom line is pilots know every 100 miles that you travel, you would be dipping the nose down to compensate for 1 mile, which is 5,280 feet of curvature. So there's the proof right there that there's something very fishy with this globe Earth situation, because scientifically it doesn't matter.
My name is Joshua Silva. I am a licensed commercial pilot and flight instructor. I have had a lifelong love of aviation and aerospace, and when growing up, I even fancied myself an amateur astronomer. I would drag my family and friends, anybody I could, to every air show I could possibly find in Northern California. I was the only kid you knew, or anybody knew, that knew the various components on aircraft, spacecraft by heart. I absolutely loved anything to do with flying or space. But my love of aviation and aerospace never stopped. I continued studying, had an entire library full of aviation books of various military and civilian aircraft, military history, every aviation campaign and theater in almost any war. I studied religiously, and it was just out of pure passion. Later in life, many years later, I decided to become a pilot. As strange as it may sound, it hadn't occurred to me to become a pilot up to that point. I just simply loved aviation and aerospace, but I decided to become a pilot, and I began attending a prestigious flight academy in the Midwest and attending university at the same time, and to gain a degree in aeronautics and aerospace. Shortly thereafter, I began flying twin turboprop aircraft out of Northern California for several nonprofit organizations. And years after that, I found myself flight instructing for various small flight schools, both in California and in Arizona, and then on to large academies that trained for the airlines and even some military flights. Shortly thereafter, I began flying regional business jets, and that's when the story of me finding the topic of flat Earth started.
Hola, mi nombre es Héctor Requena. Soy terraplanista desde el 2016. Este tema lo descubrí accidentalmente, me agradó mucho y desde ahí lo empecé a investigar. Desde ahí me di cuenta de lo que está pasando en el mundo. Yo fui aviador, me gusta más la palabra aviador que piloto. Yo volé con mi papá desde niño, él era piloto de la Fuerza Aérea Mexicana. Un tema muy curioso que me pasó a mí fue el empezar a conocer cómo funciona el giroscopio. El giroscopio está diseñado para volar sobre un plano, sobre un terreno plano, y una tierra que no se mueve. Todos estos temas me llevaron a seguir investigando. Estamos tratando de invitar a la gente a que no se cierre de mente a estos temas, ya que si no nos damos cuenta de lo que está pasando ahorita es por lo mismo, porque la gente está cerrada, se cierra a pensar fuera de la caja.
Been a military brat all my life. However, I've been in the industry of aviation for the last 21 years. And I became an FE somewhere around 15 or 16 when I really started looking at conspiracies. I looked into Benghazi because I happen to work on government contracts abroad, overseas. But I've been in aviation for 21 years, anything from helicopters to aerostats to big birds, little birds, fighter jets, things with engines, no engines, big blades, little blades, compressor blades, which, by the way, that one's not a hoax. Jets do not run only on compressed air. Contrary to popular belief, it takes compressed air in a blended ratio of air to fuel to drive the now heated gas and rotate the compressor blades. This has been a topic of discussion between FE and, not everything's a hoax. Coriolis effect. With that ties into, obviously with no spin, around the axis points that they say exist at 23.4 conveniently, 66 off the 90 degrees, right? Everything ties into 666 with NASA and all the BS scientists. Our aircraft have things called ADIs, attitude direction indicator, which gives correlation between the aircraft housing or the shell around the gyro itself. The ADI is nothing more than a gyro that will always reference level. I don't care what any pilot says. I don't care what any mechanic tells you. There's a reason that pilots have one book called a Pilot Operating Handbook, and there's every other book, right? From structures to avionics to wiring diagrams to the actual components that make up these systems. That is a standalone system. The ADI does not lie. I don't care how cold it is, how high you are, and some of these guys are pretty damn high. It doesn't matter where you're going. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter where you are over the realm itself.
I woke up to the truth of the flat earth, shape of the earth, as an engineer and a pilot. So I've studied engineering, physics, 3 different ways: basic physics, electric physics, and construction physics. And also as a pilot, as a rotary wing pilot, that is helicopter pilot, I studied aeronautical physics as well. So I can cover and discuss just about any factor of flat earth. Not that I'm any smarter than anybody else, but I've studied quite a bit of factors that analyze shape and motion of just about any object. That's physics, also aeronautical physics, and principles of flight. I can tell you this: airplanes fly straight and level. That's even an aviation term, straight and level. Airplanes will fly for hours at the same altitude, never dipping their nose down to follow the curve of the earth. An aircraft on a 12-hour or even 18-hour flight from Portland, Oregon to Seoul, Korea, that would have that aircraft starting at one point and then flying so far around the earth that it's flying downwards with its nose vertically downwards, and then starting to go around the curve of the earth so that the airplane is now flying upside down. Would have to make that kind of a flight path on a globe, it's such an absurdity. So that being said, I come into the true shape of the earth, the flat earth, as a skeptic, like most anyone else. I'll tell you my story. My buddy told me about this. He said, Rob, you need to learn about the ice ring. You need to learn that the earth doesn't move. This globe is garbage. And I laughed at him. I said, are you kidding me? I'm not even going to look into that. And he said, that's fine. He said, that's fine. You don't have to look into flat earth. But until you do, he said, until you do look into flat earth, you will remain a slave of the matrix. And interestingly enough, at this point, this was more or less November, December 2015. I had already mentally resigned from the U.S. military for 3 years. I had already resigned because of Benghazi. I realized, and I saw for myself, I'd been working with U.S. as an Army officer working for State Department for a good 10 years. And so what I did, I turned my physics awareness, I turned my studies into analysis of the shape of the Earth.
I have a bachelor's degree in English and International Business and a master's degree in Emergency Management. Emergency Management is an area of study that deals with lessening the effects of a natural or man-made disaster. Areas I had to study related to emergency management were meteorology, geology, geography, hydrology, and oceanography. You have to know well how Earth works in order to prevent or lessen the consequences of a natural disaster. In 2019, I wrote the book called 16 Emergency Landings Proving Flat Earth. Not many people know that when I was younger, I worked for an international airline. I worked at the International Cargo and Logistics Division of the company at São Paulo International Airport. I had to know all international routes in order to provide our clients the precise information about import and exports, as well as the logistics of transporting cargo internationally. Our company transported from a simple parcel package to cars and helicopters to anywhere in the world. Having access to all areas of the airport in 1988, the Brazilian soccer team was about to board their flight towards Australia to take part of the Bicentennial Soccer Cup in Australia. It was a tournament to celebrate Australia's 200th birthday. 2 South American teams were invited to take part of this tournament, Brazil and Argentina. At that time, we had access to several maps, all based on the Globe Earth model. The Brazilian squad left to Australia. A natural conclusion is that this charter flight was going to Australia over the Pacific Ocean, as the global model suggests. Perhaps stop in Santiago, Chile, and then head to Australia. To my surprise, the flight went to Los Angeles. For several days, I could not comprehend the reason why that flight went to Los Angeles in North America to then go towards Australia in the Southern Hemisphere. This thing kept alive in the back of our mind for all these years.
I'm a merchant marine. I've been selling 15 years. I graduated from the Paul Hall Maritime Center out of Piney Point, Maryland. I primarily sell on container ships, tankers, drill ships, military cargo vessels, you name it, I can sell on it. I sell in the capacity of bosun. My whole title is AB Unlimited. That primarily sell deep sea and coastal, meaning up and down the coast, west coast, east coast, and deep sea is out deep sea across to other continents. What led me to the flat earth was actually my sister. We've always been into the conspiracies and the 9/11 and Sandy Hook and all that stuff. And one day she said, hey, you want to see a conspiracy? You should look into the flat earth. And I looked at her and laughed because I had seen the videos come up in the feed and they showed that disc thing in the space and I laughed at it. Whatever. And she showed it to me and I laughed at her. And I went and pulled out my phone and I looked up a video. You can look it up. It's called Dragon Link FPV to Space. And what you'll see is basically an RC airplane that's been taken up about 80,000 feet, and they release it, and then the airplane comes down with power. And it has the Dragon Link system, which is capable of making control and video. Anyways, but they had a GoPro, so you see this curved globe. And, that set it for me. When I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, look at that. So I brought that down to her, put it right in her face and said, look at that. And looking back, I remember her smile on it was like, okay, she wasn't going to argue with me. She said, okay. Later on, I don't know, a couple days later, whatever, I seen it in there and I said, all right, I had nothing to watch. I hit it on the YouTube and I knew within 10 minutes of it. I forget which one it was. I think it was probably one of the documentaries, but it was almost like I instantly knew. And then what happened was a lot of the proofs that I had were before I was a flat earther, such as seeing contacts at 30 miles out with the naked eye on the horizon, which is impossible on the globe model. So much so, it was me, the third officer, and the lookout. We were standing our watch, and I believe we were in the Mediterranean Sea, look out, look and watch and say, okay, we got a contact out there. We look and we try and get it on the radar. We get it at 30 miles out. When the chief mate came up, we had told him, hey, mate, we got a contact earlier 30 miles out. He said, bull crap. I don't believe you. And we all looked at each other and shook our heads and said, yeah, they got it. He stormed off the bridge, ran down, came back up. He had the Bowditch, which is a thick green book that's everything you ever need to know about being on the ocean, sailing, navigation, everything. And he comes up and he says, the math doesn't lie. And he slams down this piece of paper and he says, our bridge height is at 100 feet versus how far? 30 miles. It should have been behind like 600 foot of curve. I remember 600 something foot. He had all the mathematical, of course, I didn't know, okay, that's good. All right, he must know what he's talking about. But we're looking like, well, I don't know. We got it on the radar. Then the radar must not know what it's doing.
You can just call me Jay. That's what my friends call me. That's what I go by. I just go by Jay. My work experience, I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I had a secret security clearance. There's different levels of security clearance. There's a lower level, then there's a secret, which is what I had, which is like a mid-level, and then there's a top secret. I did not have a top secret clearance, so there's a lot that I don't know. But I did have a secret clearance. So it's basically the mid-level security clearance for the government that I had, and I did that job for 8 years. I worked in operational intelligence specifically. The radar navigation, there's a limited scope of what we're able to see. Now, granted, this is 15 or 20 years ago. What I mean by that is, with it being 15 or 20 years ago, the technology nowadays on the new warships, I would imagine, are just off the charts advanced compared to what we had, 20 years ago in the early 2000s when I was doing deployments for the Navy. We're looking at the scope of the radar. Now, this is just going off of the actual screen that we can see. Now, there's 3 different screens. There's the basic radar screen where we have this limited scope where it only goes out like 25 miles, right? Then there's this other bigger screen, and I forgot the name of it, but it goes onto this huge projection in the Combat Information Center. Basically is where all of the information is housed. And on this huge screen, we can actually zoom out and see a significant portion of our area of responsibility. I can't say the exact number. Again, a lot of this is classified. Basically, when we zoom out onto this large projectile screen, it goes in and out, right? So the reason why we're able to zoom in and then pull back out is just for accuracy. So if we're looking at something that could just be like a buoy in the water, right? Just one of the little tiny buoys that the ships can use as kind of placements to track where they're going, that can be mistaken for an actual small watercraft. So we have to be able to differentiate between that and some of the ships that we're looking for, because some of the deployments we're out there looking for drug ships, we're looking for other types of ships, submarines, basically just to keep a track of everything. That's basically what the Navy and Coast Guard do. They want to make sure that they know what's going on in the seas, and that's kind of the way the United States Navy operates. They're basically dictating what happens in international waters.
I will be providing my in-depth experience of U.S. Navy submarines and how they prove we do not live on a globe Earth. However, due to the nature of my job and the security clearance that I hold, I wish to remain anonymous. I've worked for the U.S. Department of the Navy as a submarine quality assurance specialist for the last 5 years. My job is to ensure that each submarine is built properly, safely, and to the engineer's plan. I have an intimate knowledge of every aspect of each submarine being built in the shipyard I work in. Now that you've heard a little bit of my background, let me explain how I arrived at the crazy notion that the Earth is visibly and observably flat. I have always questioned the reality around me since I was little. I never followed anything mainstream, and I was never interested in what the news had to say. As I got older, I started looking into more and more things out of my own curiosity. 9/11, school shootings. I eventually started researching the moon landing because it just never sat well with me. And it didn't take long for me to completely unravel that for the hoax that it is. After that, I was starting to realize that we had been lied to on so many levels. What else could there possibly be? Then I saw a video about the flat Earth pop up on my YouTube recommendations. At first, even with my awakened mind, I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. I decided that I'd look into it simply to disprove it and move on. It should be easy, right? That was over 6 years ago, and I still can't disprove the flat Earth. In fact, the more I research it, the more it reveals. This leads me into my submarine experience. Looking back on everything I had accomplished while on active duty with eyes to see, has only served to solidify my stance that we live on a flat and motionless plane.
The theory of more land being hidden on Earth as one of the possible motives to hide the fact that the Earth is not a spinning water ball corkscrewing through space is something that many flat earthers have postulated over the years. And I just couldn't shake the concept from my mind where, just like Rear Admiral Richard Byrd suggested during his Antarctic expedition, Operation High Jump, that there is undiscovered land on Earth. And that possibility spawned an idea to write The Elusive Curve, a modern-day quest to discover another world. The Elusive Curve is a fictional novel created to convey a very non-fictional message, that the Earth is a flat, motionless, level plane devoid of any curvature. When Max Carter discovers irrefutable proof of the true shape of the Earth, the course of his life drastically changes, and he becomes a man obsessed, convinced that there is more land being hidden beyond Antarctica, and that he is going to reach it. The Elusive Curve debunks typical globe Earth claims, including ships disappearing over the horizon due to the curve of the Earth, the Foucault's pendulum, and the Coriolis effect, whilst presenting flat Earth proofs like visual perspective, level water over vast distances, and long-distance photography, all within the context of Max's varied and colourful relationships.
Also, there's a semi-classified naval communications device when ships are communicating ship to ship on the ocean, U.S. Navy, semi-classified laser communication NAVCOM device, which also does data as well. So if they're communicating with ships 70 miles, 100 miles or more, like I said, every 100 miles is a mile of curvature. So it wouldn't work because lasers operate line of sight. They operate in a straight line. There's no curvature to the laser. So the bottom line here is the naval NAVCOM classified, semi-classified system that they use to communicate ship to ship, that operates on a laser, and if there was curvature, anything over, like I said, 100 miles is 5,280 feet of curvature, and the ship's diameter is nowhere near that, which you know. So there's another example, the naval NAVCOM communication device. Also, there's a woman, female KLH pilot, KLH Dutch Commercial Airlines. She got fired from her job a while back for questioning this issue. Now, they didn't throw around the company, but they gave her like a desk job, so this way they kind of keep her around and quiet so they can control. She's a very sane, rational woman. If they ask her, what happened, she starts talking, it's going to raise serious questions. So we got the KLH pilot, we got the Laser NAVCOM, U.S. Navy. We've got my personal experience flying from Long Island to Hancock. That should be at least 5,280 feet of curvature, added to the 4,000 altitude average while heading easterly. So there's something very wrong there. The numbers don't work.
Could the Earth actually be flat? I began to see opinions and arguments that seemed logical, but I heard several arguments, which I now know were most likely disinformation, easily disprovable in the aviation world, but there were some that stuck with me. And so, myself being the way I am, I ran quickly, metaphorically, to my old textbook, and I opened my old textbooks, found them, unpacked them, cracked them all open, and even downloaded brand new copies in PDF form offline of all these books to make sure that nothing had been changed. I thought for certain that I knew exactly what compensation pilots are trained while flying to compensate for the spin or the rotation of the Earth, for instance. As far as falling around a globe, that I assumed in my mind would be an aircraft's angle of attack. But upon more study, I found that not to be true. The angle of attack being the angle between the aircraft's flight path and the relative wind, which is something that pilots are very familiar with. And it's the idea that an aircraft has to be slightly pitched up, essentially to stay airborne, or a surface of that aircraft has to be pitched slightly to create a difference in air pressure to hold the aircraft aloft. And that is assumed, or was assumed at that time by myself and other pilots, to be the compensation one would make for falling around a globe while flying, period. But upon further research, I found that this was not the case, and it was not even mentioned anywhere. This compensation was not mentioned anywhere I could find in any resource that I had gone to flight school with. And they were extensive. There were many, many books, especially as one progressed towards the commercial flying side, especially elective courses, especially if you're going to university, as I was, studying aerospace, that you would assume, and I had assumed, that this was calculated for.
Again, as far as ADIs, in every aircraft, it references the level horizon or references sea level always. There's no way that you can convince somebody of sound mind that if you take off from New York and immediately flip upside down, now your housing or your ADI is referencing upside down to you because you're upside down. It's right side up. It cannot deviate off level. It doesn't matter how much fuel you got in your tanks. It doesn't matter if you're a helicopter or an aerostat or a fighter jet. That gauge will always reference level. It has to, because otherwise it would be a poor reference. And if you could manipulate it, why would you even have it in the airplane or your aircraft? But if you go take off 2 miles away, do a barrel roll, you're now flying upside down. At what point does that gauge show you back right side up? A half a hemisphere away? Is that what we're led to believe? Is that what we're supposed to believe? At what point does it right itself if you never flipped back over and continue flying level? You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous to think that thing compensates for curvature in straight and level flight.
The big one that is oftentimes quoted is compensation for Coriolis effect while flying. And this is something I'd even taught my students about, and it's always assumed to be correct. We just assume. We're given the narrative from a young age, and everything is built upon that assumption, upon that theory. And so I thought I had the silver bullet. Coriolis effect. We always calculate for that. Well, as I began to look through the books and to look into the calculations given for Coriolis effect, the narrative began to fall apart even further. I began to see things I didn't notice when I was in school, such as Coriolis effect is actually never calculated for. but is assumed to be a part of wind correction angle. Wind correction angle is one of the many calculations pilots of all kinds make while flying to correct against winds in whatever volume or section of air they're flying through, which it could be from any direction, and you're flying through it, so you have to compensate a certain angle into that wind to hold a straight line.
Interesting side note, I worked on aerostats for several years, and I always ask people who try to bring up gravity, well, how come my 4,000 pound, 74,000 cubic foot aerostat isn't getting pushed towards the ground? It weighs more than you do, which you believe gravity is pushing you down, right? Because these are some dense ass people. But how come the aerostat's not getting driven into the ground? It weighs more. It's definitely larger than the size of a house. It's more than size of most houses. So why isn't it getting driven to the ground? Well, that's because it's displacing less weight than the atmosphere or the medium that it's in. And I try explaining that. I don't know how many times you've probably posted something on this. I don't know how many times we're going to have to post something on this. But every time that little kid lets go of that helium balloon and starts crying. Radar is simply another form of radio transmission. Radio includes anything within the range of the electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum, also known as light. Radio is the transmission of light, whether it's visible light or radio waves, which are not visible. When it comes to radio transmissions, there must be a transmitter and a receiver. There can be a reflector or a transmittal unit along the way. However, in the end, there's got to be at least transmitter and a receiver. And in the case of radar, radar transmits a signal and it bounces off a reflector, and then it comes back to the receiving station. Or it can go to other stations if they're set up in the network properly. Long story short, radar emits a signal, it bounces off something, and then it returns to a receiving unit, and the receiving unit maps that reflection accordingly. If there is no reflector, then there's no return signal, and then the object does not show up on the radar. For example, it's off the screen. Notice there's no curving around anything. It goes out in a straight line. Radio signals always travel in a straight line. So the transmitter sends the signal out to the target, bounces off, and it comes back in a straight line. Radar cannot travel over the curve, and hence radar is dependent on line of sight, direct beam from the transmission to the target. It reflects and it comes straight back. There is no curving around anything, thus is radar.
Also, radar works in straight lines. The radar is incapable of curving around a curve, picking up and bouncing back the reflection of what it's picking up. So if you can imagine a ship on the other side of the curve, we'll say 30 miles, 40 miles out, it sends out the radar beam. The radar beam is supposedly curving around this ball, bouncing back, and then bouncing the reflection, curving back around to be picked up by the radar. That's not happening. It's flying out straight, and when it picks up something, it hits it back. It's not going around any curve. That's plain simple. That can be looked up on your YouTube and see how radar waves work. They don't go around the curve. Every diagram shown will show you straight lines. They don't show you curved lines.
As we zoom out to look at the larger scope of things, once we verify that, we're able to zoom out over a large distance. Now, over this screen, at the time, I was like 18 or 19 years old, all right, when I was doing this job. I wasn't thinking about flat Earth and any of this other shit. I was still indoctrinated and under the assumption that the Earth is a spinning ball. I never thought about flat Earth or anything like that, but I always thought it was weird that as I'm looking at this massive radar screen, I always used to think, how come we're looking at this and I can see, like, we're off of the coast of Argentina, for instance, right? Like, how is it that I can see this far out and it's not like over the horizon or curve, because it's so far? Like I said, we use a lot of these other link signals, and they're called links. They go by different names. I can't say the code names. Some of them I forgot. Some of them are, again, this is classified information. I can't give any specifics on these. But some of the links that we use, not only do we speak to the actual ships and track them, but we speak to aircraft 10,000, 20,000, 30 and higher, 30,000 feet and higher is what I'm saying. It's not just a matter that they're 30,000 feet directly. It's not like they're directly above the ship. This is what's interesting, is this aircraft could be 50, 60 miles away and 30,000 feet in the air. So you understand like the angle that you have to take to be able to track this aircraft from a ship that's moving on the water. Think about that for a second.
I served on board of a United States 688I fast attack nuclear submarine, and I can personally attest that we never constantly angled down during our submarine deployments. One of our longest transits went from the Gulf of Oman around the southern tip of Africa and back to Connecticut. We were underwater for almost 3 months straight. My job on board as a radioman meant that I spent a lot of time both in the radio room and in the control room. The control room is where they navigate and drive the submarine. I never once, in my 5 years active duty, heard the officer of the deck or the diving officer give the order to consistently change the angle of the submarine to compensate for the curvature of the Earth. The primary task of the diving officer and the helms and plainsman is to maintain the submarine as level as possible while in transit. If the Earth had any measurable curvature, I am certain we would not have been able to make this incredibly long transit without accounting for it.
And then the big one is given after that. Well, GPS auto corrects for it. And that sent me down yet another path. GPS auto corrects for it. If it's a satellite-based system, how is it correcting for spin if it's also spinning over the same body? And why are there large gaps in GPS coverage over large oceanic bodies? Do they just turn them off? It's just not worthwhile? There have been enough aviation accidents at sea, very far from shore, that would say otherwise. And if you gave the American taxpayers, the ones funding these satellites that are supposed to track aircraft, the information that, well, we're just shutting them off because it's not worthwhile, those 3 or 4 jets full of hundreds of passengers just have to use other navigation methods such as dead reckoning, which is basically using a stopwatch and guessing to the next checkpoint, essentially. If you were to tell them that, they would be infuriated. So that could not be the case. Coverage was a problem. Even over large and non-densely populated areas, you would lose GPS coverage, even in jets at times. So this began to unravel the thread of satellites and satellite timing, and the fact that many reels of footage show these satellites being launched by balloon rather than by rockets, how the concept of these rockets doesn't even work to make it past the atmosphere, much less leave something in perfect geosynchronous orbit. I actually had the privilege of working a short time at a satellite manufacturing company in Northern California. Got to see the assembly and participate in the assembly of satellites, base-based satellites, or so they were said. There would be small bottles encased in these structures that were encased by another structure. The small bottles were the fuel cells. These fuel cells were incredibly small, smaller than a diver's tank in most cases, much smaller. And this was supposed to be all the fuel that the craft needed to run and operate, as most are not actually electric. They're becoming electric now. And sustain itself in a perfect orbit by just small bursts from its engine or its propulsion system.
But truth be told, I've been to many countries, done many things, all things aviation. I can say with absolute certainty, and I can attest, the plane does not dip nose down to follow the curvature of the Earth, ever. Matter of fact, most planes have an airfoil that are 3 degrees nose up in straight and level flight. And the reason that is simple. If the nose of the aircraft was at 0 degrees or level flying through the air, then it would porpoise, right? it would be quite violent because some of the air would go over the nose and some of the air would go under the nose, and it would cause that nose to go up and down, which is literally like a porpoise or a dolphin out of water. And that's exactly what would happen. So it's the wings are designed when they are level, the nose is 3 degrees nose up.
The fact, proven from multiple points, that there is no Coriolis to the motion of the Earth. And I'm speaking from a pilot's perspective, also an engineer's perspective, because I obtained a degree as an engineer before I went to flight school. So I'm both a pilot and engineer at once. So, number one, there is no rotation of the Earth, proven by the fact that a helicopter pilot can hover the aircraft indefinitely, motionless, above a single point of the Earth. If the Earth were spinning, as soon as that aircraft left the ground, the Earth would spin out from under it. Now, somebody may say that the air of the atmosphere rotates along with the Earth, which is one of the most absurd concepts imaginable, because if that were the case, then all wind would travel with the Earth. There would be no alternating wind currents when we know that the jet streams fly overhead, clouds move in multiple directions overhead, and a kite flying over the stationary Earth that proves that the air does not move in unison with the Earth. Number two, airstrips do not rotate away from a landing aircraft. Anybody who's seen a pilot's view when an aircraft lands, well, the aircraft lands to a motionless airstrip. If the Earth were rotating, the pilot would have to turn to the angle at which the airstrip is rotating away and land at the speed of the airstrip, which is absurd, simply absurd. Airstrips do not rotate away from the aircraft, and on an east to west landing strip, if the aircraft is landing to the west, the airstrips do not land moving towards the airplane. That's insanity. Okay, simply stated.
If the Earth was a spinning ball, it is virtually impossible for a ship to be moving at 25 to 30 knots on this curved spinning ball while tracking an aircraft that's probably going 300 miles per hour, 50 to 100 miles away. Really, I mean, these like P3 aircrafts were pretty far and 20,000 feet in the air. It's just virtually impossible. It doesn't make sense. Again, at the time, I wasn't thinking like this, but looking back on the information that I had, I'm like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way that that was done on a curved Earth. Literally, the only way that could work is if we are on a flat, stationary plane. We're cruising along. The boat is cruising along in the water. Like, think about it in terms of like a large, like, you know, like those backyard swimming pools. Picture the swimming pool filled up, right? And then your ship, you put a little boat on the swimming pool, and then, you know, you put like a little fake aircraft in the air. From that ship, you're able to see the aircraft. It doesn't matter where you are in that pool, you can track that aircraft. If you're on a spinning ball curve, how the hell can you track an aircraft that could be in a position that's 100 to 200 miles away from you, 30,000 feet in the air from a different angle that's around a curve? It's impossible. There's no way that you could, there's no radio frequency that could track that.
I'd like to point out that I see now that I didn't see before is that you have a magnetic compass and you have a gyro on any ship. And I'm not talking about your little Crabberman show fishing boat, one of the deadliest cat. I'm talking about a real deep sea going unlimited tonnage boat's going to have a gyro. And it is a big, huge box that sits usually behind the bridge or in the chart room. It's a big box and it's basically the gyro compass. Now, if you had two models, I guess, wouldn't you have to have one making the corrections, because it almost never matches the magnetic almost never matches the gyro. It's very rare that we're steering the same course. And they say it's due to deviation and variation is where you know, like the metals of the ship causes it to differ. And then you have the variation of the magnetic fields over the Earth is, I guess they change, you know, true north and magnetic north. But the way I look at it is, man, they got two different machines. One is a machine and one is from God. The way to get around the Earth. God's not a dummy. He put the way to get around the Earth with the compasses. If back in the day they had motorized vessels that can get them around, they would probably have got around a lot better. But they were at the mercy of the wind. It was like, oh, they didn't know their way, or, you know, they were using the stars and stuff, and they, you know, so I just believe that the two compasses, the gyro compass that's electronic, and then our regular compass is because they are switching the ways, you know, the maps. There's two different ways to get around the Earth. You're tricking us.
Here is another flat Earth proof. that I never noticed while I was on active duty, thanks to years of indoctrination. Periscope observations. When the submarine is at periscope depth and the observer is looking for ships on the horizon, they will start to see masts at about 8 to 9 miles, depending on atmospheric occlusion and sea state. The hull of the ships won't be visible until about 5 miles, depending on atmospheric occlusion and sea state. At 9 miles away, the target should be 26 feet behind the curve, but this isn't what's observed. My final flat Earth point on submarines is with regard to the AN/WSN TAC-7 ring laser gyro that is used on board of U.S. Navy submarines. A typical gyroscope, like the ones used on board of an aircraft, is a device used for measuring or maintaining orientation and angular velocity. It is either a spinning wheel or disc with a counterweight in which the axis of rotation is free to assume any orientation by itself. When rotating, the orientation of this axis is unaffected by tilting or rotation of the mounting, according to the conservation of angular momentum. However, a ring laser gyro doesn't have any established weight. They use light as a point of reference. It spins up a disk that shoots out lasers, and it has a digital encoder that deciphers where the laser strikes inside of the gimbal system. No make-believe gravity required.
Let's just say we're like 30 miles away. These missiles can shoot much further than that. I can't give you the exact number, but say we're 30 miles away, okay? 30 miles is far. So from our ship, we can track on our little, we have like a missile projectile. It's like a radar, but it's a little bit different. It's specifically designed to track the missiles. You actually input the coordinates, latitude and longitude of where you want the missile to strike. Really, really high precision accuracy. I mean, really accurate. We hit that launch and the missile, and it will hit that target 30 miles away, even longer than that. Now, here's the thing. Again, that's not possible on a curved Earth. These missiles are huge, 50 caliber project that are carrying massive amounts of explosives in them, okay? Each one of these missiles are probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So whenever you're lining up these missiles to shoot at targets that are 30 plus miles away, if the Earth is spinning. Again, now think about this. We're not sitting like on land holding a gun, all right? So picture this. We're on a ship, like actually in the middle of the water, okay? And the missile is shooting off of the bow of the ship. So if the world is a spinning ball and we're on this curved Earth with water and we're spinning 600 miles per hour through infinite space, I'm pretty sure that it would be physically like it wouldn't even make any kind of sense on a physics type level to be able to shoot a missile from a spot in the water on a spinning ball to pinpoint accurately hit another spot.
And at night, we were going on one ship, on a military ship, and this is with night vision goggles, 50 miles, and these guys were on the bow. They were not even on the bridge where you'd be 100 foot up. They were on the bow, which is barely probably 40 feet off the water's edge. So these guys, and they have the latest state-of-the-art. This was in 2015. 2015, they had state-of-the-art, what do they call them, night vision goggles. So these things are capable of seeing that far if we live on a plane. You can't deny it. It was so obvious, but not to everyone else. I guess the programming's harder than other people. So they don't want to hear it. But over the years, I have learned the model. I know the model like the back of my hand. I can show proofs. I have ammo now. So when I go out there and I tell somebody, hey, that's impossible, and I'm talking to a third mate or second mate who's an officer who went to college meaning they paid for their education. Because when you pay for your education and you're making a handsome salary on it, you can't be wrong. How could I be wrong? I'm making a salary, they're paying me. I paid for this career. Everything's working great in my life. You are obviously wrong. All the math works. So with that, you know, it's hard. But when you stump them and you start showing them stuff, it's hard for them to say. And then they start saying stuff like, oh, well, what does it matter anyways? I don't care.
And there is the 8 inches per mile squared. But you guys can't look at it three-dimensionally. It is two-dimensional. It is the amount of deviation that's required for you to come back inward. If you are walking east from north, meaning you are going around north equidistantly, and you walked in a straight line east 1 mile, you're going to have to deviate 8 inches back to the left to get back on the equator, right? Look at it on the flat earth map, and clearly it makes sense. If you walked 1 mile in a straight line east, you have to deviate 8 inches after each mile to stay on the equator. The 8 inches per mile squared is a real measurement, if in fact we consider the equator to be a real place, a real location, ever, always.
In 2015, I came across YouTube's suggestions for flat earth videos. My first reaction was to laugh off. After seeing flat earth videos in one of my favorite channels, I decided to watch one. When I came across a flat earth map, which I had never seen before, it immediately sparked me to look at that flight route, Rio, Los Angeles, Sydney. And I could then understand why the Brazilian soccer team went to Los Angeles and then to Australia for the tournament. The earth is flat, no doubt about it. The following weeks and days were followed by more research and disbelief. I had been a NASA fanboy my whole life, paying 2 visits to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Huntsville, Alabama, besides spending so much money in science and science fiction related documentaries, movies, merchandise, etc. What a waste of time.
I also tell mates about they lay down and we use all our charting is done on flat maps, straight lines. They never draw a curved line. Every line is straight lines everywhere we go on a flat map. And I try to point it out to them. And what they tell me is, Mr. Marcator has put all that in there for you. It's all equated in there for you. You don't have to worry about it. All the curvature calculations for it and everything's figured right into the map. So the straight lines and everything are actually bending somehow. I don't know. So these are just the proofs that I see. Along with, you can see the corpuscular rays are much betterly observed out at sea because it's nothing. It's like a desert. And so you can see the sun like a flashlight just shining down in a cone. Everywhere. If there's a little bit of where clouds are right, it looks like a cone. And I point it out all the time to these guys. And I get them thinking, but you know, the programming goes hard on people. And if you're not ready to wake up, well, you're not ready to wake up. You'll just have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You'll be back in the illusion before you know it.
The narrative began to fall apart. I would continue studying and finding that what I fear to be true is reality. That we have been lied to about just about everything. Upon researching military history and then military training and speaking with military gunners in both the Army and the Marine Corps that I know personally, I would ask them about Coriolis effect. And it was always assumed that, yeah, we compensate for the Earth being, you know, a curve, that it would drop. We calculate for the Earth curvature. But even upon asking and having them look into their materials further and my own personal study, again, it found to be an assumed truth with no actual basis in reality, that they would calculate bullet fall based upon angular velocity, drop, friction, amongst other things. And curvature was supposed to be just corrected along with it, just like flying, wind correction angle corrected for Coriolis effect.
I've done many of them personally. I've flown more than 1,070 hours in both helicopters and airplanes. And I will tell you factually
that aircraft meet their checkpoints, they take off, they meet their checkpoints, and they land exactly as planned on a flat stationary map. No pilot, I say again, no pilot has ever accommodated for the rotation of the Earth when planning flights and takeoff to checkpoints along the way, and then landing. Pilots can plan so well that they can take off and land hundreds of miles away down to within 30 seconds of their planning because the Earth simply does not rotate.
A waypoint would be like this. Like, let's say we're out in the middle of the water and we want to hit a target that's like directly to our west, 15 miles away. But that target is able to track our missile coming at them. We don't want that target to know where the missile's coming from. So we can put in waypoint. And a waypoint would be like putting a point out like 20 miles east, and then another point like 15 miles north, and then another point like 10 miles south of that, and then put in our target. You see what I'm saying? So the missile doesn't go directly from the ship to the target. The missile will actually fly to the latitude and longitude of the waypoints that are put in, and then it will curve from there, and it will hit all the waypoints and then attack the target. How is that possible on a spinning Earth? If the Earth is moving at 600 something miles per hour or whatever they say it is, there's no way that missile could stay. There's no way that missile would be able to keep track. Do you understand what I'm saying? At least that's how I'm looking at it. It may be a little bit harder to visualize if you actually weren't seeing it the way that I would see it, or there, or understanding and putting in the coordinates or seeing how this actually worked out. But I'm telling you, like, from my perspective, that is one of the things that makes it virtually impossible to accept the globe as this. Well, it's a fake lie. It's a theory. It's garbage, is what it is.
So y'all think the Earth is a ball? Y'all think it's spinning through outer space? And I meant to believe in the green alien.
Well, actually, the Earth is flat. Here I'll give you facts, all the math, science, and all of that. Whatever you need to believe. Come on, can't you see that a submarine couldn't use a periscope, nor a plane use a gyroscope? But Huey doesn't adjust for the Coriolis or sniper looking down the scope. This is all hard to take in and hard to cope, but I hope that I've given enough rope to explore the rabbit hole that our Earth is not a ball and it's not spinning through outer space. If someone wants to prove me wrong, please give me a name and we can debate it all day, anytime, and with real test measurements and evidence. Stop lying to the world's nations. We have real science to back our observations. Don't believe in the indoctrination of the people, cause they don't want you to believe that the Earth is level. Don't believe in the indoctrination of the people, cause they don't want you to believe that the Earth is level. Dig deeper, be a rebel, then dig deeper than a shovel. Keep your mind level, it's lighten the curve and lighten the herd. Give the truth what it deserves, tell about what we actually observe, like a boat going out of sight. If you get your zoom and focus right, it'll come back into light. Just use a laser beam and you will see that water never bends but always finds a flat resting position. 71% water can't make up a ball or a pair. So let me make this clear and get it into your ear. You're in great fear of stepping out of the box. They're keeping food stamps in our socks. They are the slyest of the fox in a controlled illusion of evolution. That's nothing made everything in no proof of creation. In this pseudoscience indoctrination, no meaningful salvation. But let's believe in gravity with no proof of how it picks and chooses what can rise and what can fall on this crazy thing we call a spinning ball. Don't believe the indoctrination of the people. They don't want you to believe the Earth is level. Don't believe the indoctrination of the people. They don't want you to believe the Earth is level. Let me give you something else to measure. Don't worry, it's my pleasure. If you want to vacuum or pressure, you must have a container, and that's a no-brainer. But since we believe the universe is on on a roller coaster ride, even when Polaris is in the same place every night and has been for thousands of years. Has the heavens work like gears, telling us time and the years like a big machine. The heliocentric model is just a drink backed by money and based on influence theories, never providing hard evidence except for CGI and camera trickery of my natural senses in our school systems. But flat earth brings meaning to your existence like a period at the end of a sentence. Don't believe in the indoctrination of people. They don't want you to believe that the earth is level.
When it comes to a deception this big, it's hard to dismiss. And for the people that say, I don't see how this would affect me either way, you don't know. It's like telling me about Argentina when you've never been there. Or it's like telling me about owning a Corvette when you've never driven one. You haven't experienced it. And if you have been through the Flat Earth Awakening, you know how it would affect you. This quite possibly may be the biggest awakening of mankind. Think about it. If you believe in this mass fallacy, you've been robbed of some senses and you don't even realize it. You don't trust your sense of touch or feel. You don't trust your sense of sight. You've been told the earth wobbles, spins, and orbits, but you don't feel a thing. You've been told that sunsets can't exist on a flat and stationary plane, but you don't understand the vanishing point of the law of perspective. After it's possible to understand and decode a mass deception, it becomes a lot easier to understand other lies. It opens your eyes and raises your discernment. So when it comes to lies like JFK, the moon landing, chemtrails, fluoridation, 9/11, etc., this is one of the most important factors of life I've ever been awakened up to. If it's possible to open your mind to this, your receptors will connect so much faster and stronger than you've ever experienced in your life. Understanding the ground you walk on every day and the luminaries that go over your head every day, which I still don't understand all of its entirety, can change your life forever. Knowing you are specifically, intelligently, and uniquely designed, so you know mentally, physically, and spiritually your vibration, energy, and frequency of life. So don't act like this doesn't matter. We've been lied to on a mass caliber. We can prove we live on a flat and stationary plane with observable, repeatable, testable experiments with data, hypothesis, and conclusions without depending on blind faith, indoctrinated, religious, theoretical, nihilistic, opinionated philosophies. That's the difference.
Is it possible that almost everything that we were taught from the time of our innocent adolescent time as children to the completion of our chosen path of studies in college was not only incorrect, but was part of an educational doctrine of spiritual disconnectedness from what truth is and what our reality in the world that we occupy today? What if I told you that this is but a small capsule in a puzzle that was well planned and engineered by a world control system to propagate a catalog of theoretical studies and sciences that in some cases have never been proven to this very day, nor will it ever be proven, ascertained as fact. Humanity appears to have been hoodwinked into a dumb state of who we are, where did we come from, and are we unique in God's creation concerning a geocentric world, or are we in a heliocentric world based on theoretical studies by a Jesuit astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus? He suggested this in 1543. His works were not released until after he died, because he himself didn't believe in the spin ball theory either, that is taught still today at the highest levels of education. On my book, which is nefariously planned agenda that has gone on for 474 years seems to be threatened to become full disclosure of the biggest lie in the history of mankind that is kept by the world's oldest secret society called the Freemasons. The very uniqueness of humankind was spelled out correctly by our Creator that the earth was the center of the universe, and that He created the sun and the moon as well as the stars and the constellations that revolve around the earth, with Polaris being the north magnetic pole fixed star. How could space possibly exist when you and I have never been in our entire lives seen a real photo of what our own world looks like?
Max must constantly deal with the stigma and ridicule of being the crazy flat earther from friends and family, and bombardment of typical questions like, why would they lie? How could so many people keep such a big secret? And what does the shape of the earth even matter anyway? The elusive curve presents all the main arguments for a flat earth and solid arguments against a spinning ball earth in a fun and realistic story format, recommended for all flat earthers and curious-minded people alike. Join Max on his journey as he attempts to convince his friends that the shape of the earth is not what they know, while he plans for a mission to discover more land on Earth with his ambitious and somewhat crazy plan to acquire a high-altitude pseudo-satellite to prove the shape of the Earth one way or another.
The Globers definitely scientifically we're looking at flat earthers have some very, very, very valid points according to those three examples. You got it, brother. Anything else?
That about answers my question. Quite a lot to take in. I've taken some notes. Thank you. Thank you again.
You're welcome, sir. Any questions? I'll be here for a while. Contact me anytime.
All right. God bless.
All the best. God bless.
Yo invito a la gente que por lo menos sea un poco más abierta de mente hacia estos temas, porque la verdad es que esto está muy fuerte. Se vienen tiempos muy difíciles ahorita y debemos de estar conscientes de que el sistema nos está manipulando de una manera muy, muy grande. Entonces, pues, vamos a ver qué pasa.
So that began my journey down the flat earth. And since that point, I've only found more and more voices, more and more educated people, educators, professionals who are beginning to shed light on this subject in ways that I can only begin to imagine. But I'll never forget the day that I realized my plane wasn't falling around a globe, that I could look out the cockpit window, 185 degrees plus field of vision at 40,000 feet, and not see one iota of drop, but nothing but a flat, beautiful, motionless plane. The assumed calculations that we made that were compensating for Earth rotation were just a part of a calculation based upon wind speed and the angle we had to hold in order to fly against that wind and go in a straight line to our destination. It's one of the most freeing truths I've ever experienced, because in some small way, the idea that these other conspiracy theories and things we've been lied to about are true. But this biggest one is the biggest truth of all. We've been lied to about everything. It means we can start over. We can start again. At this time, at this point in our history, we are uniquely positioned to make that change.
And if I can make one statement to the people out there, it's simply this. That's it. That it's level. You cannot fall off the edge of an in-ground pool. It is level. Where you put your feet in the water in France, it's the same height that you can put your feet in New Jersey and Brazil. Do some research. This is not the only thing out there that needs to be researched, unlearned and relearned. The Department of Education, founded by Rockefeller in 1908, did a good job of proving that the mode of ignorance that he calls his education board You are the proof it's working. The moat of ignorance widens every day. It gets bigger and bigger every day because people keep believing what they spit out. Unlearn. Thinking outside the box. The box is the cap that you got at graduation. So understand that for the first 18 years of your life, you didn't learn the truth about anything. You were simply told, and you got a reward for repeating it. Now it's time to think for yourself. It's time to do research and do your own testing. Be your own white coat.
Knowing the earth is flat has placed me in sync with our Creator, His creation, our hidden past, and with the future we hope to build. A future where we should not have an organization called United Nations governing the world. When there is no globe, there should be no globalization. This is my message to all of you. Peace.
My message to the people is that if you're watching this documentary and it strikes a chord with you, research it. Find out more about it. So my message is research it. Get all the ammo you can, because if you try and go out and tell your family member or friends or coworkers and you try and tell them this, hey, that, they're going to laugh at you. And if you don't have the ammo to defend it or the right content to show or to start a kindle a fire with somebody's interest, if you don't have that, you're going to get laughed. I made the mistake of when I just knew it right when I seen that video. I said, okay, it makes so much sense. I knew it right away. I went and tried to tell everybody before I knew. I just blurted out little proofs. Airplanes don't dip their nose, the water lies, and they'd hit me with some of that science stuff, that pseudoscience, and I couldn't defend it, and I would look like a fool. And then when I had the knowledge, it's harder to defend it because they've already don't take me serious. But now I've gained such a knowledge on it and such what you would call ammo that I can defend it in a way that you're going to get one of these reactions. Well, what does it matter if it's round or flat? My life doesn't change, doesn't matter, either way. That's how you know that you're striking a chord. Their ego doesn't have anywhere else to go. So from there you can work on them. But like I said, learn the model, learn to defend the flat earth model before you tell your coworkers, loved ones, or anybody, in that matter that you don't know, because people you think that you know well are going to look at you like you're crazy. And unfortunately, that's due to the programming. Everybody believes one thing, so how dare you believe another? You got to fall in line.
So if you're able to actually open up your mind, look at things objectively, allow yourself to break free from the indoctrination bullshit that you were taught, you'll feel more free. You'll see the world differently. You'll love more deeply and compassionately. You'll appreciate life more. That's how I lived my life a couple years ago. Honestly, I can tell you this. I just hope and pray with all my heart that, as the years go on, this is probably not something I'll see in my lifetime. But, as my children grow older and my children's children, as the generations go on, the truth will start to emerge. And it is starting. I mean, it's incredible, that so many people are starting to really awaken. But, 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now, hopefully we can break free of the chains of indoctrination and really see the world for what it is and actually appreciate it and love the world and love each other. And I think if we all understood that there is a creator, people would be less inclined to be so abusive toward each other and the earth. So that's my big message for the people. Just think for yourself. At the end of the day, just be a good person. Don't be so quick to just believe something and stand by that belief just because it was taught to you at a young age. Question it. Make sure it makes sense.
In closing, I'd just like to say that these are my own personal experiences. I never ask anyone to simply just believe everything I'm saying. In fact, please don't. That's how we've gotten into this whole mess to begin with, by blindly following others who say they've already done the research for you. You allow deceptions to occur. Please do your own research and test all things.
all space agencies are part of the cover-up because they are also Freemasons. It is my consensus that space is fake. And NASA was set up this deception and even admit that images of Earth are composites and computer-generated images. Since 1958, NASA has literally force-fed us to and continue their trickery, sorcery, wizardry, and being only God of oneself, yet cannot get high enough altitude to provide humanity with one single photo of what the very shape of our world is. I believe strongly in the very senses that God gave all of us. And instinctively, our senses are 99% correct. And my book will help those awakening sheep remove the dark shades from this massive deception. And for those who are unwilling or unable to think past their noses, then those sheep will remain asleep. My book is part of the Great Awakening from pseudoscience that has put man living in a Newtonian world of Einstein physics, ruled by Frankenstein logic. Game is over. Consciousness shift of stupidity because of poisonous indoctrination to separate your soul and reality from truth. The knowledge of hold tight, folks. A real awakening is happening all over the world.
The curve of the Earth, the spinning ball, as well as evolution, dinosaurs, nuclear bombs, and everything else that they teach in the schools that's not founded on Scripture. Number one, it's mathematical, geometric, geospatial, geophysical, and in all other respects, the spinning ball Earth is a scientific absurdity, provable by observation and measurement and repeatable science experiments. The spinning ball Earth does not exist. There is no curve to the Earth. There is no Coriolis. There is no such thing as a spinning ball Earth. And at the end, the Bible, which was a textbook, and I say again, a scientific textbook written long before any of the universities we have today, the Bible says the Earth is flat and stationary. So therefore, we can dispense with all of our science school learning that doesn't agree with the Holy Scripture. The Holy Scripture tells us that the Earth is flat and stationary. All of our measurements, and indeed our personal senses, tell us that the Earth is not moving. There is no curve to the Earth. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The Holy Scripture tells us the nature of the Earth. The Earth is flat and stationary.
Pride, ego, and reputation are three characteristics I see in every spinning ball believer. Let your pride down, knowing you've been heavily deceived your entire life. Let your ego be washed away, knowing it's possible you've been manipulated on such a scale as this. And stop caring what people think about you. I'm not saying be as external and abrasive as some of us. Just realize that yes, we are human and we can be programmed to think certain ways, but also know we can be unplugged and become critical thinkers, observers, and researchers without being told what and how to think. From an education system that runs kindergarten curriculum all the way up to Harvard, that was bought over by the Rockefellers a long time ago. This is our time, not theirs. It's time to stand up and start acting instead of relaxing and being told how and what to think. From mainstream outlets that are owned by the Bilderberg Foundation, the Triangular Commissions, and the Council of Foreign Relations. Think for yourself and stop falling victim of popular public opinion that are owned by these anti-God secret societies. In my in particular gifted opinion, the most precious gift God gave us is free will, but it's up to us to choose what's right and what's wrong, what's light and what's dark, what's positive and what's negative, what's yin and yang, what's in motion and stationary, what's flat and what's round, what's good and what's bad. We can't tell you what to do. I can lead you to knowledge, but I can't make you think. It's your choice to take the blue pill and go back to sleep, or to take the red pill and stay awake the rest of your life, knowing you are chosen. Because many are called, but few are chosen. And I promise you, once you go flat, you do not go back. They couldn't stop this movement if they tried, because truth prevails. Rest in peace, the globe.
Every truth has a specific time and moment to manifest itself. Technology being the catalyst for this truth to re-emerge and reveal itself again. And prove that it's not a myth, vanity, or a misunderstanding of our ancestors and all ancient cosmologies. The geography of Earth that is flat and also disguised in words like plains, the Great Plains, the lowlands of Europe, the flatlands, the savannas of Africa, the Amazon basin, salt flats, the mud flats, the depressions, the Arctic tundras, the tablelands of Australia, the steppe of Russia, the grasslands of Argentina, the ice sheets of Antarctica, the wetlands of Florida, and the levels of England. Over these vast plains flows rivers and canals like the Nile, Amazon, Mississippi, and countless more, for thousands of miles flowing level in every direction. The oceans and seas that occupy 70% of Earth is flat and level water, but science have no way to prove that it curves or sticks to a spinning ball by a magic force called gravity. The majority of the seabeds of the seas and oceans are abyssal plains, as we say, as above, so below. The longest line of sight of observing Hudson Bay at 1,800 miles and my own Himalayan ranges observations on 2 occasions of plus 2,000 miles is just impossible on a globe Earth. No physicist can debunk the testimony presented here by the first category witnesses, nor the real geography, nor the longest line of sight, nor the countless researches, investigations, and evidences that prove we live on a flat and stationary plane. The one who needs to prove that it's legit or not is the globe.
All right, so we still got like 19 people here. Can you hear me? I'm gonna end the show though because it's like 2:30 in the morning and I want to go to bed. Honestly, that's all I got for tonight. Not bad. Some flat Earth stuff. Just remember the Earth is flat. I'll play a couple tracks and I'm gonna get out of here. So, oh my God, here.
No.
Get the fuck out of here. You're fired.
No. Get the better solution. You keep me on the payroll as an outside consultant. And in exchange for my salary, my job will be never to tell people these things I know. I don't even have to come into the office. I can do this job from home.
Yo, if Earth's flat, why don't you fall off the edge? I heard that Mike Collins from Apollo is dead. My girl's fat girl, let's just crawl in the bed. Don't spit if you want, just swallow instead. Swallow instead. Can you hear me, Siri? Swallow instead. Hello, Siri. Is gravity a theory or a fact? Thought my tampons in the house where my period's at. Get my rap on when I'm pissed about the serious crap. Passing so fast through space, time bends in half. After blasting through warp speed, we get to plaid. Don't listen if you don't like when I spit these raps. Rhymes I write like lightning, I write so fast. I'm like Mike Tyson, you ain't got a fighting chance. Yo, I'm going back to basics, flat smack in the faces. You can't have gas pressure without adjacent to the vacuum of space, bitch, without a container. Like paying for a lawyer without a retainer. I ain't playing, about to let a slug out of this chamber. When you see the red dot, yo, no doubt it's a laser. Helio flatty dude. Shot up for later, shot up for later. Flatty dude. Shot up for later. I've been around the world, and I measure the earth, measure the earth. The devil, he's so clever with words, but level don't never mean curved, it never means curved, and meta from the metaverse, the metaverse. Playing Call of Duty help build my immunity up. Insurance policy paying you, they usually bluff. I'm not saying they won't do it, but it's usually tough. The last few years I've seen some unusual stuff, but if I mention the shot, you say I'm off the beat. So now I'm beating off to the thoughts of shots in me. What a rotten little awful getting off scot-free. Son of a gun of a bitch, I've come to be. Shaking up the game to break up the redundancy. And if it wasn't for work, they'd have no taxes. And if it wasn't for burnt, there'd be no ashes. And if it wasn't for birds, egg be no hatching. And if it wasn't for dirt, there'd be no traffic. And if it wasn't for hurts, there'd be no passion. And if it wasn't for learning, then why all the classes? If it wasn't for your purse, yo, I'd have nothing to snatch. And if I don't come in first, then I'm coming in last. I've been around the world, and I measure the earth, measure the earth. The devil, he's so clever with words, but level don't ever mean curved, it never means curved, and meta pause from the meta. All these atheists must hate my guts, cause I say to their face, space is fake and stuff. NASA astronauts, everything you say is suspect, cause I suspect you make it up. Not your average FE thespian beast, faster than faggots fasting at a lesbian feast. She that loves me the least will give me nothing to eat, but he that loves me the most will give me something to smoke. This ain't how I met your mother loving murder, she wrote. The spin of the earth should've made your vertebrae broke. Every word that I spoke, you couldn't refute it. Water finds a true level, so you couldn't dilute it. You couldn't dilute it. It can't be refuted. You couldn't dilute. You couldn't dilute. You couldn't dilute it.
Who the f do you think you are, you crazy little shit?
Security? I am Jack's smirking revenge.
Oh!
What's the matter? You bums forgot how to kill people? Doesn't your work mean anything to you anymore? Have you no sense of pride in what you do? No sense of duty? No sense of destiny? I'm looking for generals! What do I got? Foot soldiers